Welcome back to the No Agendas Football Podcast, where we contradict the title. Everyone has agendas, but do you have a strong argument to back up your point of view? That is the challenge of this debate show, and we've got a great panel and some good topics today as well. Johnny, I hope you're good. Jimmy, I hope you're good. Brian, I hope you're good as well. I'm going to listen, you guys know me. I like to get straight into it. We're going to go to Uncle Jimmy first. I don't know if you're following Uncle Jimmy on Twitter. Guys, you should have your handles in your description, by the way, so people know where to find you on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
So, Uncle Jimmy on Twitter likes to post a video every now and again in his car, throwback settings, discussing hot topics. And the hot topic he decided to tackle was, who do Man United fans, in the worst case scenario, who do you want to win the league? Manchester City or Arsenal? And Jimmy's got some interesting points in that, so we'll start there. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think, for me, as a Manchester United fan, I have to... Look, I respect Arsenal, the club, bro. And I've said this many, many times. I think it's one of the few clubs in the Premier League that I have a lot of respect for. But the fans, I cannot stand these guys. Are just... It's like for me, the worrying thing is with Arsenal fans, and they need to be aware of this as well, is they seem to not know when to just hold your breath. Like, the Premier League is a funny league. Just calm yourselves down, keep it together, because the Premier League can change very, very quickly. And Arsenal fans have proven to me season and season, they've proved to me that they cannot, then they don't know how to be reasonable about football. And that's what annoys me about Arsenal fans. So I respect the club, but I cannot stand the Arsenal fans. So for me, I don't want Arsenal to win the league because I can't stand the fallout that's going to come from that. And I think for me, it affects the league in a different way as well, because if Arsenal win the Premier League, we know for a fact they're not going to go and do it again. I don't think they can, because I think you're going to get Arteta he's being approached by Real Madrid and Bayern Munich and all these clubs. So that the next season for Arsenal is going to look different. But they're the only fan base that seem to not be able to have the ability to look at football in this way, where you say, when Real Madrid start talking to your manager's going to be a little bit different. So please understand how football works and just come down here. Let's have a football conversation. But these guys don't seem to have the ability to have a football conversation. So I don't want Arsenal to win the league. I would rather City win the league. It's fine for me. I don't mind that. I'm sorry. I don't mind.
Johnny, you're up. I'll go to you next.
I concur with my colleague right here, my buddy, my man, Jimmy. And the reason for that is there's a bit more reason behind mine. I just feel like whenever it comes to Man City, everything they do is hollow. There's no substance to it. Like, there's no... almost like they've bought everything that they've done. Like, before Sheikh Mansour came in, they were nobodies. They were literally nobodies. So City don't bother me like that. They just don't bother me like that. I don't even respect the club. I don't respect anything about City because I think it's so hollow. There's no substance to anything, and they don't even have that many fans. Like, they don't. Not when we go on Twitter Spaces, there's not many of them about. Arsenal, they're like mosquitoes. They're everywhere. You can't get away from them. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. They've been unbearable all season. Unbearable. And they haven't even won it yet. The way they've been going on this season, you'd think they'd won it. And I just
in my own family, Johnny. In my own family, they're everywhere. I'm like, what?
I feel like when you talk to real football people that know the football, they haven't done. Even if they get a three-peat, they haven't done what Man United did. It's not the same as what Man United did. Even if they get a treble, it's not the same as how we went about ours. It's not the same. It's just not the same. So because of that, it just doesn't affect me. Of course, I won't like it, but it doesn't affect me like I just don't want Arsenal to win. They've gone, what is it now? Best part of, is it 2 decades? We're in 2023. Practically 2 decades with no title. I want to see another decade. Because you know what it is? I think it was Jimmy said it today, and it's a good point, Jimmy. I'm used to City winning stuff. It generally doesn't ruin my day. I'm not saying it improves my day. I'm not going to go that far, but it just don't get to me like that because they've been winning stuff. Arsenal, man, I need that misery to carry on.
But Johnny, you've got no hatred towards City. That's the thing.
It's not like
Liverpool. It's not like Liverpool or Arsenal.
No.
Different.
It's like when they try to force that Liverpool City rivalry down our throats, like Sky Sports and Jamie Carragher, they try to do it all the time. It's like, come on, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, it's just cringeworthy.
Doesn't
and same again. If City do the 3P, I won't like it, but I know in my heart and in my head there's no substance to it at all. It's not what Fergie did. It's not how Fergie did it. It's got no resemblance, no parallels, no similarities whatsoever to what Fergie did. So for that reason, it don't get me like that. With Arsenal, man, it's just these fans. I just can't. They've been so unbearable this season that if they was to go on and win it, it's just the volumes just can get turned up another notch. And I just don't want to see Arsenal win it. I want their misery to continue for as long as fucking possible. Excuse my language.
You know, it only took 6 minutes for the first F-bomb. That's pretty decent for Johnny. Brian, what's your thoughts on this? Manchester City or Arsenal to win the league? Which reality could you live with?
You know, I got thrown in the deep end on this one. I gotta watch out. I want to make sure I can make at least 30 seconds before I trigger Jimmy here a little bit. So, look, man, I'm not even going to
start like this. Please don't start. Why you start like this?
See, I didn't even make it. I didn't even make it yet. No, look, I'm not even going to pretend like I wasn't born in Manchester. I don't have any particular care for Manchester City at all, right? But when I got introduced to football over here in the States, one of the biggest Premier League rivalries at the time was Manchester United and Arsenal. And one of the other ones was Manchester United and Liverpool. And so I have, because of the support and love that I have grown to have for Manchester United over the years of supporting them, I have a very high disdain for those two clubs in particular. A lot. Like, I mean, and so, but for me, I mean, now, I think Manchester City are a very talented team, but Johnny's right. I mean, prior to the takeover, they were nobodies. I didn't even watch the Manchester derby over here. Like, even though I was like, oh, they're from the same town, cool. But like, I mean, United are going to win, so why would I watch it? You know what I mean? And so, obviously, that's changed a little bit now. So, and look, here's the other thing too. I'm not super torn up about legacy and history. Maybe in some ways, maybe I should be a little bit more, but I'm not. Things get broken, things get changed, new teams emerge, old teams fall away. That's just the nature of the game. The game's the game. And Manchester United fans, we can't hang on to the past for too long, because then we start to become what we got onto Liverpool fans for being for so long. Right. And so we need to be careful about being like, we don't want City to win something because that infringes on something that we accomplished 20 odd years ago. You know what I mean? Let's think about what can Manchester United do in the here and now. Right. And I'm more concerned about that than something that Manchester United did in the past that City is getting close to replicating in a way. So for me, yeah, does time not matter? Like, for you, does time not matter? Because when I look at Manchester City, if we're gonna go, because there's a trajectory happening here. Because if we're gonna go with time, how much time is it going to take? Because seasons have to happen over time. You can't make seasons shorter. So,
do you know what it is, Jimmy? I don't think
there's years. But do they not see? If we look at time, how long is it going to take Manchester City to be in a position where we have to think, oh, legacy wise, okay, maybe there's a club here.
I'll be honest with you, the time thing's irrelevant, right? It's your generations. So most of us here are either mid-30s or early 30s, whatever, right? So ultimately, you care most about what happens in your formative years emotionally, right? When I think about my best movies, I probably watched most of them before I was 20. I think about my favorite albums before I was 20. My favorite athletes, they probably all achieved something before I was 20. Serena Williams, Michael Schumacher, just to name a few of my favorite athletes, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they all achieved something before I was 20. My favorite players, Rui Costa, Redondo, like it's all before I was 20. It's my formative years. One sec, Jimmy. Now, bear in mind, I'm a Man United fan that grew up in London. So I'm constantly going back and forth from primary school with Arsenal fans. I was coming off, so in the 90s as a Man United fan, right? I'm watching all of the propaganda from the 70s and 80s about Liverpool. So I'm adopting all of this propaganda and hatred about Liverpool, and I'm living the experience of going up against Arsenal fans from primary school onwards, right? Chelsea became relevant when I was when I was 16, 17. Yeah, so when I was 17, Chelsea became relevant. I don't have any hatred towards Chelsea at all. City didn't become relevant until I was like 23, right? And up until the age of 23, I've adopted this thing from Manchester, Liverpool, the biggest rivals. And then because of the rivalry of Arsenal in reality, because we were going up against them and Arsene Wenger, there's a tangible rivalry we've all grown up with. And the Mancs used to play down the City rivalry. Like, no, Liverpool, that's the team. Not City. They're nothing. Don't worry about them. Derby Day, cool, bragging rights, but there's nothing substantial there. So how am I supposed to flick a switch emotionally, age 23? It can't compare to what I experienced from 6 to that's 17 years. That's the whole point. I agree. You can't compare. Now, logically, right, you can say, shout out to Terry Flewers, it's about Man United's records, right? They could reach our record. Well, even there for me, I can reconcile that intellectually. If Hamza wants to come on a space or do a stream talking nonsense, first and foremost, that team won't be better than a treble winning team. Simple. Better players. We went past Juve that had Zidane, Inzaghi, legendary players, right? Barcelona team we went through, Rivaldo, etc. Legendary players in that team. Then the Rooney Ronaldo team, miss me with this. You're not. So intellectually, logically, even if I heard City fans chirping, which I'm not going to hear because there's not a lot of them, I don't have to live it. It's just on TV. Social media is minimal. I just don't. It's just logic. So there's not enough logic to override my emotions. That's just where I stand on it. Jimmy, I'll let you wrap up this topic before we go on to the next one. But for me, and by the way, we have no control over this. It's more so what reality would I prefer to live in? One where I'm seeing Arsenal lift the league title or Manchester City, like I've been used to recently. I haven't felt a thing. When we were rivals going up against City, I felt it a little bit because we were going up. We had a chance of winning the title. Since we've not been competitive, their league titles haven't hurt me emotionally one bit. So
no, same. I think for me, like just to wrap up my point, I think for me I think it is probably an emotional thing because I try and stay as reasonable as possible and not be too emotional about football because of course I'm emotional about football because my kids are Man United fans. I watch football with my kids and they're celebrating with me. Like Rashford's their hero right now. It's like, there's an emotional side to it. But also I've started watching football. I've told you, Daniel, like only in the last maybe 3 years I've watched football with a tactical eye. So I'm trying to understand like the way that teams play. I'm not going to lie. Like for me, Arsenal I don't see why they deserve to win this Premier League title. So for me, they don't even deserve to win the Premier League title because they've had one good season, really, if you look at it. So for me, I'm sorry. I don't mind if City have it because I haven't got the emotional hatred that I have for Liverpool against City. City, Chelsea, they can win it. I don't care. I don't want Arsenal to win it because my emotional side of football is with Arsenal is much, much deeper than it will ever be with City and Chelsea. So for me, I don't want Arsenal to win it. I'd rather City win it. And that's just my take on it. And I'm not going to change
Just another quick point. Remember how fierce it was between Wenger and Fergie at one point?
crazy.
They hated each other. Like,
Yeah,
hated each
so
other.
Johnny, we can
They
go
like
deep.
really like have a push like a fist fight before.
Like, they were like shoving each other on touchline. Like, they couldn't stand each other.
Roy
Oh,
Keane and Vieira heated.
No,
When they surrounded Van Nistelrooy when he missed that pen.
I'm telling you.
Like, there's too much. I'm sorry, my logic can't override all of that. We're going to move on to the next topic, though. Oh, I like this one. I'm going to set this off because I've had an agenda.
You better start right. You better start.
Ever since I saw
I'm
Sky
hoping
Sports,
one that I'm thinking you're going to go to, so you better start right.
ever since Sky Sports did this Vidic versus Van Dijk narrative back in 1890, was whenever they started this narrative, I was like, wow, they just skipped over Rio.
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd you skip over Rio to Vidic?
I saw your tweet. I saw your tweet, Daniel, as well. I saw your tweet.
So I was like, what's going on here? He ain't been dribbled past.
Yeah. Was it to was it to Laurie?
No, so it was. I'll share the tweet here, actually. It's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned this. We're going to get to the tweets from Jamie Carragher. And look, I'm going to run listen, I've got an agenda. And let me explain what the agenda is. I just want Van Dijk's place in Premier League history to be accurate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like an agenda, Daniel. That just sounds
that's fair.
He's a world-class centre back. Yeah. And I have a problem with Liverpool fans nitpicking and downplaying certain attributes of Terry's and Rio Ferdinand's game, right? Then also, they twist longevity. So we know on social media, longevity can be a bad thing because it can be used, right, falsely to say they were good, but they weren't really world-class, but they had longevity. No, these guys were world-class for like 5, 6, 7 seasons in a row, right? Elite for at least 5 seasons in a row. They weren't decent for 5 years and then world-class for 2 seasons. No, 5, 6, 7 years, elite. From 2004 up until when John Terry was 32, I don't know exactly how old he was at that point, elite. Rio Ferdinand was elite before he got to Man United, was elite when he first arrived at Man United, got a ban, came back, and then hit another level, right? From age 25 to 32. Won it all. 5 league titles, Champions League, all of that. So I just need Van Dijk to be in the right place in history. We'll go to let's look at what Jamie Carragher was saying. Can you guys see the shared screen or not?
Yeah, I can see it.
Van Dijk is far better than Vidic, who was a top centre-back, whether you forgot this performance against Torres.
This is the
John Terry had poor seasons.
It's that last line, Daniel.
Hold on. Guys, calm down. Look at you. And JT had poor seasons in their careers, like all players. Van Dijk is having one now. No centre-back in their PL eras have had Van Dijk's impact on the team. Cool. The impact thing, I'll let you tackle that, Johnny. There's 2 things I want to tackle.
Yeah.
There's 2 things I want to tackle real quick. Fernando Torres played Manchester United either 15 or 18 times. I forget offhead. I believe it was 15 times in his Man United career. He scored 3 goals. 2 of them came in 1 game. He got the better of Vidic twice. The first time Torres played Man United home and away, he didn't do anything in his first season when he was good. It's his second season when he started destroying Vidic. What happened after that? What about all of the other appearances for Liverpool and Chelsea when he faced Vidic? There's nothing. So it's an overblown narrative that Sky Sports and ex-Liverpool legends on TV push. Load of nonsense. I've just seen a Bournemouth team get the better of Van Dijk. You want to talk to me about Torres and Vidic, okay? 1 poor season of their careers. Van Dijk's in his prime. 25 to 32. Vidic, Rio, John Terry, your Yap Stams, whoever you want to go to, did not have a season like this when they were in their prime. It's as simple as that. And he weren't great before his injury either. They think we've forgotten. We have not. So, this, and I'll let Johnny tackle that whole thing about impact. But for me, look, if I'm being completely honest, I would put Van Dijk anywhere from, so I'm going Rio, JT, anywhere from 4th, and it's debatable. I'm debating. And I'll get into who that is first. Johnny, I'll let you tackle
What bugged me about that tweet was is the keyword. The whole premise of his tweet was impact. And to say that there's no denying it that Van Dijk's impact took him to a title. I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm not going to take that away from Liverpool fans. It did. That's a fact. It took him to a title. He was a game changer for Liverpool. I'm not taking credit away from him for that. But before Vidic came to Man United, I think it was like 2 or 3 years we'd not won the title. Vidic comes, we then go and do a three-peat. Then I think it's 9-10. We miss out on 1 point to Chelsea, and we win the Champions League in 2008. So when he's talking about impact, how does Van Dijk's 1 title trump 3 titles and a Champions League? That would make no sense at all. There's no argument that you can counter to me that trumps what I just said. 3 titles, a Champions League, and they're missing out on by 1 point to Jose Mourinho, by the way. 1 point. So like nearly 4 titles and a Champions League. And then I think we're going to win again in 2010. So I think it's not even a thing. That there's no argument, there's no debate. Like Vidic is, in terms of impact, Vidic is cleared him. And I think he was a better defender anyway, personally. But I don't know what Jamie Carragher's on. He's opened up Pandora's box.
And you know what it is as well, Jimmy? I think people forget that transition. Rio getting suspended, Mikel Silvestre past his best, Laurent Blanc, changing goalkeepers. People forget the transition to that Rooney Ronaldo team and the impact that Vidic actually had, along with Evra. There were other players. But this idea, Vidic had a big impact. Yeah, because they had other pieces in place. Yeah, that's why they had a big impact. He came in January. But if Alisson don't arrive in the following summer, did Liverpool go on to do what they did? If they didn't already have the other pieces along with Van Dijk, do they achieve what he achieves? It's a team game at the end of the day. Then you assess people's individual contributions to it. But like Johnny said, 1 league title, 2 how many Champions League finals, and they won 1, they lost 2 or 1 or whatever it was. So yeah, when we're talking impact, what we doing?
Vidic, not to Vidic for impact account at all.
And
you know what's annoying? Jamie Carragher, who's a fucking ex-pro, excuse my language, Jamie Carragher should know this. He should know this.
Yeah, he should. Yeah.
Well, here's one of my. I was going to say real quick before Jimmy goes. Here's one of my issues.
No, you know what? We'll just go to you, Brian. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say. Well, here's one of my issues with this type of. I think this is actually more of a. For me, this is more of a journalism issue and a punditry issue than anything else. Because I'll be honest, like if I'm watching football from anywhere else in the world and I want to hear a conversation about arguably one of the best players in the Premier League at his position of a generation, then I will want to actually hear it objectively, not from somebody who played the same position on the same team, who cannot help his own bias. Like if you're going to be biased, fine, but admit that bias when you are inserting yourself in the conversation rather than being like, saying it as if it's a stone cold fact and there's no way of arguing it at all. Like, yeah. And Carragher's not alone in this. Neville does it too, right? So that for me, it's like, just if you're going to be biased, admit your bias before you jump into something, and don't skip out on other players. If you're going to say someone is the best, acknowledge everybody who's in that conversation alongside that player, which he didn't do here.
Jimmy, what's your thoughts on this talking point, Vidic versus Van Dijk?
I think it's insulting to Vidic, to be honest. Like I just, for me, it's insulting to compare Virgil van Dijk to the mind. You cannot compare Van Dijk to Vidic. I watch football with, and I know this might be an age thing, I don't know, but I watch football with legacy eyes. Like I need to know, you need to prove to me that you are worthy of me mentioning you 20 years after you finish playing, 10 years after you finish playing. I need to know. You need to give me a reason to mention your name 5-10 years after you've stopped playing, right? For me, when I look at the two players, I can put Vidic on one. If I put Vidic on one pedestal and I can talk about Vidic and tell you why I still talk about him to this day, not just as a Manchester United fan, I'm talking as a football fan. I can tell you why I'm talking about Vidic. I have no reason to have a conversation about Virgil van Dijk. He's won the Premier League, and the next season his stats have dropped to the. Sorry, I was going to swear. I don't know if we can swear or not. His stats have dropped to the floor. In the very next season, after he's won the Premier League, all of his stats have dropped to the floor.
But did the eye test match the stats dropping in your opinion?
In my opinion, it does, and that was going to be my next point, Daniel. Is for me, I'm not. I don't like stats. I hate stats. I avoid stats unless I have to look at stats. I don't want to look at stats. I just watch football because for me it's entertainment, and I like being entertained. I don't want to go into the technical details of it, Daniel. That's for you to do. It's not. No, because you. No, but you understand that I don't understand the stats. Daniel, you've only just taught me 2 weeks ago what XG means.
I'm still trying to, but you know what it is. So the way you're looking at it is you're not even comparing him to anybody else. Just Van Dijk stats versus Van Dijk stats in that context.
Cool. Sorry, I have no reason, Van Dijk, for me to talk about you right now at all. I have no reason. So not only do I not have a reason to talk about him, but you're asking me to compare him to one of the best defenders I've ever watched play football.
So Jimmy, you know what it is? You've taken me on to the where I want to end this segment. So where does he rank for you then?
Next to Wes Morgan.
What, Van Dijk?
No, let's be serious. In your opinion, Jimmy, is he top 5? Top 5 centre back?
I don't disagree with Johnny, to be fair, but I'll try and... Go on.
Is he top 5 centre backs all time in the Premier League in your opinion, Jimmy?
100% not. Not even close. Absolutely not. No.
Wow. Okay, so you need to give me.
So wait.
Absolutely not.
Johnny, wait.
Let me tell you this. For me, my legendary defenders, I like them to tackle. They have to be able to tackle, right? And they have to be able to defend one-on-one. Guess what Van Dijk's weaknesses are as a defender?
Passive.
Tackling. Doesn't like one-on-one defending either.
Oh, that's not true.
I don't know. I don't think that's true.
That's not true.
Daniel,
I've got a big Van Dijk agenda.
I knew I was going to get some pushback on that.
Look, when it comes to one-on-one defending from a positional point of view, understanding how to use your body, right, and his frame and his size and his speed. Hold on. He's excellent. He's excellent.
Defending. What do you think his success rate is?
At what?
What do you mean?
One-on-one defending.
One-on-one defending, I'd reckon Virgil van Dijk would be around 50 to 55%. And the reason why, I knew it would be that. And the reason why I know this is because it's very simple. I'll tell you why. I'll explain why. This is how the stat is recorded. One-on-one into the channel, side on. Virgil van Dijk is so athletic, he can have a nibble at a player and attempt to tackle. He'll mistime it, but he's still on the move. Then he'll continue tracking that player and take the football. Statistically, those two actions, that's a 50% success rate. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So there's context you would add to it. But you know what? You know what, Jimmy? I don't want to get.
Why is Vidic at 71%?
Because Vidic is a better tackler.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to win because he doesn't have the athleticism. He doesn't have the athleticism, speed. He's developed.
But that's a very important part of defending.
No, so what happens is, according to your own attributes, somebody like Vidic, because of his lack of speed and athleticism, even though he's actually just lack of speed, not athleticism, because he can throw his body about. Because of his lack of speed, he can't take the risks that Van Dijk can take. So he has to be at 71% to be an elite defender. He can't have a nibble, stay side on, track the man, and then go
make it count.
He has to win his tackle first time. That's why the numbers look like that. But you know what? I want your top 5. Give me your top 5, please. And where does Van Dijk rank?
Premier League defenders, centre backs.
Jan Terry, Ferdinand, Vidic, Carvalho, Jaap Stam. It's just off the top of my head.
Not in there.
Don't chat to Jaap Stam. It's not better than Stam.
I would say Terry, Ferdinand, Vidic.
Carvalho has to be in there.
I would go Carvalho because I always have him in my team. So
it's not even top 5. Like no agenda. It's not even top 5.
So you're going Rio, JT, Carvalho, Yapstam, Emmanuel Vidic.
The Vidic, yes. So I'm going. That's my 5. Van Dijk is not even. I don't think he's in the next 3. To be honest, I think he is beyond that. To be honest.
Wow, who's in the next 3 then?
Is he better than Sol Campbell?
I think Sol Campbell is a better defender than him. Actually, to be honest, I think Tony Adams
was better than Ledley King.
He's better than Ledley King.
He's
better than Ledley King. He's better than Ledley King.
Daniel,
you guys got me defending Van Dijk.
Daniel,
I hate you guys. I can't stand you guys. Come on,
when
man.
I was talking about the time thing before, I genuinely think you guys, like, when a certain amount of time elapses, you forget how good these guys were.
But just wait, one more point, Jimmy. You have to remember, Daniel, back then, they were playing against better strikers and better forwards and better wingers.
No, Johnny, are you having...
What is enough?
But like, I'm not saying he's not a world-class centre-back, but they were against, like, the Henrys, the fucking... Sheens, the Ruud van Nistelrooys of this world.
All these...
The Ryan Giggs tearing down fucking line. Who's Ryan Giggs of today? What, Salah? Fuck out of here.
Crossed the ball in the box. Everyone crossed the ball. Everyone crossed the ball. Even the midfielders crossed the ball. The defenders crossed the ball. Everyone crossed the ball. These guys...
Listen, one thing that you've harped on about for quite a long time, right, is the level of player all around the game, not just defenders, all from 1 to 11, the level of player has dropped. Right? True. That's not to say that Van Dijk's a shit player. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the players of yesteryear, they were playing against world-class elite fucking forwards.
All the time.
Even Jermaine Defoe, I'm not saying Jermaine Defoe is world-class, but Jermaine Defoe is a very good fucking striker. But so the point I'm making is the defenders of back then, right, they were playing against a larger pool of quality compared to now.
He's not in the top. He's not. He's struggled to get in my top 10. I'm not even joking.
Wow. Is he better than Company?
I'm a football fan.
Is he better than Vincent Company?
I would struggle to get him in the top 10. I would. I really would. I really would. Honestly.
Brian, we're going to go to you on this next.
Brian's about to rip my head off right now, but I'll accept it. Fine. It's all right. It's cool.
So, like, is Van Dijk top 5? That's what we're talking about. I mean, so here's the thing for me. Like, I have a harder time talking. Like, when it comes to certain players, I'll default to people who watch those players more earnestly than I did. I can be honest about that. I'm not going to have a conversation about a player that I didn't really watch. So yeah. I've heard. So, like, for example, Yapstam, I've heard about how brilliant of a defender he was, but never really got an opportunity to watch him extensively. So, but I did watch Rio and Vidic play for years together. I think that and they are 2 of the best I've seen. But I do think that Van Dijk coming into that Liverpool team at the time that he did brought a lot of stability to that team that they did not have before. And the reality is, like, Van Dijk only won 1 Premier League title, yes, but he won 1 Premier League title because the best team of the last decade was ahead of them. And they had been accelerated in their project for years prior to Liverpool getting that team together that they had. So, like, if City wouldn't have been, this is ifs, buts, and maybes, but if City wouldn't have been in the position that they would have, Liverpool might have won a lot more because there was no other team. There was no other team to compete with them.
But Brian, right, you've got people going about, apparently they've got the best left back, best right back, best centre backs, best goalkeeper, best midfielders, best Salah, best fucking Jota, best fucking all these players, right? You've got the best players apparently. With
What's wrong with people being happy, man? They're just happy. 1 title.
So, according to Jamie Carragher and Liverpool fans alike, it's the greatest Premier League team ever with the greatest players in it with the best manager, and you have 1 title.
I can disagree. So I can disagree. I can disagree with that, Johnny, right? So I can disagree with that.
When your logic is at this level, Johnny, that's when this is my Johnny, that guy Johnny.
Do you know what I'm saying though? You've got the best of everything, the best manager.
I hear you. Yeah. So my thing is, I can disagree with all of that. I don't think that this Liverpool team is the best team. I don't think they have the best everything. I do think that Virgil van Dijk has been one of the best center halves of a generation, though. I do.
Because let me ask you a question. Let me ask you all a question. If it's genuinely, and I'm not saying I believe this, right, but I'm posing the question like Jamie Carragher would. If it's genuinely the best Premier League team ever, when the Premier League come in 1992, there's a lot of teams to talk about there, right? If they're the best Premier League team ever, how have they only won one title?
No, but Brian's already said he doesn't agree with that point. This is where Liverpool fans will get into trouble if they hold all of these views at the same time. Like if your all-time 11 has that many players from your current Liverpool team in it, then it's going to hurt certain arguments when you try to make excuses for Van Dijk not having more league titles. Do you get what I'm saying to you? But Brian's not subscribing to those views that some Liverpool.
Oh no, I weren't like.
No, I know. So
it's
Brian,
that they think that. So that's what Liverpool fans. A lot of Liverpool fans believe that they've seen the best Premier League team of all time. When Klopp won the title. So to them, it's
like Liverpool fans. Yeah, they need to just chill out.
And Liverpool fans think Mane's better than Giggs as Liverpool fans. So Brian, top 5 is Virgil van Dijk in your personal top 5 Premier League all time for centre backs?
I think I would put him in there. I don't have an issue with that.
Over
I don't
who?
have an issue with that.
Well, over who?
Where would you rank him?
I would probably put him 5th.
Okay, give me your top
I put
5.
him. I think I put him on the edge. I think I would put. I put Terry, Rio, Vidic, Carvalho ahead of him.
Okay, but you think his speed's better than Sam's speed?
I didn't get to watch Sam play a ton, and that's why.
And you know what?
So I can be comfortable with that. Like if somebody was like, "Let me show you how good he was," it might change my opinion, but I'm not going to comment on a player I didn't really get to see play extensively. If that makes sense.
And you know what it is? I respect that, Brian. I keep saying this to people under the age of like, for example, if you're 23, you really should recognize your limitations. Talking about players who 3/4 of their career were in the 90s.
Yeah.
Right? Trying to debate somebody my age about, a Nedved as an example. You weren't born when he was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. And there's no amount of YouTube or documentaries you can watch to give you the context for those seasons. For people that were watching Serie A Channel 4, those league titles, the Champions League at that point. So I respect Brian for recognizing his limitations, because his top 5 is based on what he actually knows, not getting in the way of speculating because a lot of other people would say this guy's in there. And not a lot of people have that type of integrity, in my opinion. So salute to Brian on that. Rio, John Terry. And by the way, as defenders, I think Stam and Carvalho are better than Rio Ferdinand and John Terry, by the way. Yeah. But the level that Rio and John Terry were at was elite, and they were elite for like 5, 6, 7 years, longer than the other two. That's why I put them 1 and 2. It's eliteness and longevity. It's not just because of longevity, it's eliteness and longevity.
Level in it.
Sorry, would you say, Jimmy?
I'm saying the attackers in their time were just a whole different level.
Yeah. But it's the eliteness and longevity where I put them there. Hold on. So once you get to 5th place, I'm happy to debate it. I'm happy to debate Vidic and Van Dijk. I'm happy to debate Van Dijk and company, or anybody else you want to throw in there. It's no problem. It's genuinely no issue. Even if you want to debate him over Stam and Carvalho, right? I know Chelsea fans who don't I rate Carvalho higher than some Chelsea fans, as an example, right? I don't know why they don't promote him more. Elite defender. Those first 2 seasons at Chelsea, he was elite. Defensively, maybe not as the leader. I think John Terry's better with his feet, but as a pure defender, those 2 seasons, his level was higher than John Terry's, in my opinion, dealing with defensive situations. Just next level. But look, it is what it is. Everyone has their own opinions, but for me, Van Dijk not in the conversation with the top 2. The top 2 were better, and they were better for longer, and did everything they had to do at club level that they had to do. Simple as that. If you want to debate 3rd and beyond, 4th and beyond, 5th and beyond, that's where Van Dijk is. Once we get onto the continent, he's not in the top 10. Because John Terry and Rio would struggle to make the top 10 once we start talking about the elite from the continent, from the Milans, from the Juves, from the Barças. When we start dipping into the 80s, forget it. 90s, forget it. Start talking about Barreras, forget it. Yeah. That's all I care about, is Van Dijk being where he should be, which is one of the best of the rest when we're comparing. Simple as that. I want to move on to the next topic. I want to talk Man United now. I've done Liverpool for like 20 minutes, man.
I know, it's weird. It's weird, isn't it? It's weird. It's weird.
Man United fan at the end of the day. Finally, so I've been waiting for the briefing. Usually in March, we get a briefing, either from the Athletic or the Telegraph. Man United are looking to recruit in A, B, C, D, E positions. Because of the takeover news, it wasn't really forthcoming. We've got little drips, but we never got the article, the body where it's like, this is their target. These are their targets for the positions. And, you know, here's the priority, basically. So who was it that put it out? I've got it here somewhere. Yeah, let's do that. Let me just share the screen now. Actually, no. Before I get to that priority list, my apologies. I did this in the wrong order. I want to discuss Frimpong first. And I want to discuss Dalot.
Big up Indiana. Big up Indiana.
Wan-Bissaka as well.
Big up Jordan too.
I'm going to go to Bryant first on this. I'll share the screen and share the tweets so everybody can see it. It's from Fabrizio Romano. So Romano spoke about this on Backstory quickly. He spoke about it on his YouTube. Man United fans sort of twisted his words a little bit and made it a bit too certain that he's coming to Man United. So he's just corrected it a little bit so he's clear. Frimpong, keen on Manchester United, possible move, not advanced yet, as his agent met with Man United, FC Bayern and Barcelona. Interesting in Frimpong doesn't change the situation of Diego Dalot at this stage as he's in contract talks for a new deal. So this means that Erik ten Hag prefers Dalot. I think it's pretty obvious he does. And Wan-Bissaka is going to be leaving. So my question for you guys is, do you agree with that decision from Erik ten Hag? Do you think Dalot is the fullback? Let me just mute Johnny quickly. I'm not sure what's happened there. Do you guys think Diego Dalot should be the fullback getting a new contract? Wan-Bissaka should be leaving. We'll go to you first, Brian, then we'll go to Jimmy.
On the balance of the season, for me, it's like split right down the middle, right? Because Dalot had a great start to the season, got injured post World Cup, and then hasn't been the same. Aaron Wan-Bissaka couldn't even get in the team because Dalot was that good, and then Dalot dropped off, and Wan-Bissaka took his opportunity, right? And so, on the balance of the season, I think as far as competition goes, like good on Ten Hag. He's gotten competitiveness and like getting the opportunity to get in the team and taking your spot and taking your chances right. And both players are fighting for it. So it's good on Ten Hag for getting that out of those players. At one point last season, everybody was wanting both gone. And now the conversation has shifted generally to one or the other probably can go, but it's a toss up between the two. And so, but it's interesting on the balance of the season. I mean, Dalot's in talks with a new contract, and on the balance of the season, does he deserve it? Maybe, maybe not. It's not really our call to make. But regardless of that, Wan-Bissaka gives so much defensively that Dalot just doesn't. Especially if the team has somebody coming down that, our opponents have somebody coming down that left hand side who is a danger man. You put Wan-Bissaka on that side, and you say, forget whatever it is, like. Anything you do going forward is a luxury. Your number one goal is to prevent this person from causing problems in attack. And Wan-Bissaka can do that job better than Dalot, and it's not even close. So if Wan-Bissaka leaves Manchester United and Dalot gets a contract, given contributions like that, especially since he's got back into the team, you probably feel kind of harsh done by him, considering what he's given to the team. But I guess Ten Hag is looking at his offensive options for both players, and he's not particularly happy with either's output. And so he's wanting to double down on something that Frimpong can give that neither one can, and just deal with whoever. Like for him, maybe it's a toss-up on the other side. So I don't know. It's hard.
I like where you've gone with that. So Jimmy, though, I want to throw it to you in a different way, Jimmy. If Erik ten Hag goes through with this, sells Wan-Bissaka, brings in Frimpong, he doesn't have a fullback because Frimpong defensively he's not that guy. So he won't have a fullback that can handle a St. Maximum, a Martinelli, God forbid we would face Real Madrid in the Champions League next year, Vinicius, we wouldn't have a fullback who can handle that type of winger coming down, the right side of our defense. So how, do you think Ten Hag's making the right decision here?
Well, I actually refuse to believe that Ten Hag has made that decision. So for me, what I think when I'm observing Ten Hag at the moment with the right back position, I think he trusts Wan-Bissaka more than Dalot, generally. So in terms of as an overall fullback, I think he trusts Wan-Bissaka more than Dalot. And that, I think, for me, even when Dalot's come back into the fold, I think it's been for him to observe as to whether he's making the right decision or not to trust Wan-Bissaka. And the issue with that for me is, when I look at Frimpong, he's like Dalot number 2. For me, the way that I don't see what he brings that Dalot doesn't bring, right? But I see a lot that Wan-Bissaka brings that Frimpong cannot bring. So when I'm looking at these players, I'm thinking, well, I know the manager trusts Wan-Bissaka because if you look at the instructions that Wan-Bissaka has been getting in matches, has been very different from match to match. And I think that's because Ten Hag trusts Wan-Bissaka to follow different types of instructions than he does with Dalot. Because if you look at Dalot, Dalot gets very... Listen, wait, let me finish my point.
I don't think it's a trust thing, personally.
Hang on. So I think Dalot's given a very universal set of instructions from match to match. I don't think Dalot gets as varied amount of instructions as Wan-Bissaka does. And when they've actually gone onto the pitch to play the match, Wan-Bissaka has executed way more than Dalot has. And I don't think that Ten Hag would take the chance to get rid of Wan-Bissaka to bring Frimpong in, because I just think at the moment he's invested way too much trust in Wan-Bissaka. So I don't see why you would bring him in. For me, it's not a word.
Look,
I don't want.
You might have overlooked this. This is where I disagree. The fact that we paused contract negotiations, right? Then started engaging in negotiations for the players that Ten Hag has already made his mind up on. I find it difficult to believe he doesn't prefer Dalot over Wan-Bissaka. Also, when Dalot came back, Dalot comes back from injury, and he plays him. He keeps bringing him back. He brings him in. Badly.
What match was it? What match did he come back?
It's like the cup games. It's like 4 games in a row.
Okay, okay. Just pointing it out. Just pointing it out. Can't
remember the exact fixtures, but I remember him coming back, and I'm like, okay, that's 1 bad game. Oh, that's a 2nd bad game. Oh, that's a 3rd bad game.
Yeah.
You really like this guy. You want Dalot to be back in form.
Yeah.
Even though you've just seen Wan-Bissaka give you 2 months of form that was matching Dalot's.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
100%.
In terms of, forget their skill sets. In terms of if you were doing player ratings for every Dalot performance before his injury and Wan-Bissaka when he come back, it'll probably average out somewhere around the same for both players, right? Yeah. Even though the sample size is slightly different. Obviously, Dalot's played more games, but pound for pound, he's matched him. And yet the coach, in my opinion, Jimmy, is clearly indicating through transfer negotiations and the fact that he keeps giving Dalot opportunities to come back into form when he seems to, if he likes you and you're in form, he seems to, stick with you. And he took Wan-Bissaka out of the first opportunity. So my concern is that he prefers Dalot. Now, the reason why I have that concern is for the same reasons that, you and Brian pointed out. I think if we're going to get a Frimpong who is going to be excellent in the final third, so I think he's clear of Dalot and Wan-Bissaka in the final third, from the middle third as well, ball carrying, beating people, crossing. Hold on.
Agree with you.
Variations of crosses. So even he can cross on the run, he can put misdirect. So you think he's going to dribble, and actually he's cutting it back. He's got a nuance to the way that he attacks that's beyond the other two. So I'm looking at it like, okay, so what's Ten Hag thinking here? Okay, cool. So if you've got Dalot and you've got Frimpong, you've got, from a possession and attacking point of view, you've got a good set. But then you don't have somebody one-on-one who can handle a Vinicius in a big game, in my opinion. And that's
I agree with you.
For my personal preference, I would prefer the number 2 option Wan-Bissaka's skill set. Just for me personally, but I do understand Ten Hag's thinking here. I do get it.
I agree with you there, because I agree with you, but maybe not in a way that that will make you happy. Because I agree that Ten Hag likes Dalot. I agree that on paper, Dalot is his kind of right back. On paper, on profile, I don't think that he's been able to get what he thinks he should be getting out of Dalot so far.
I think it's the same for both.
It is. But I'm saying when he looks at Wan-Bissaka for Ten Hag is the safer option. So when he looks at Wan-Bissaka, I think he believes that he's been able to get more out of Wan-Bissaka than he has out of Dalot. But on profile, Diego Dalot is Ten Hag's right back. Of course, if you look at all his right backs that he's ever had, that's Dalot on paper. But he's not been able to get what he thinks he should be getting out of this player. So what he's now having to do is to coach Wan-Bissaka to do things that Wan-Bissaka, we would say that Wan-Bissaka wouldn't be comfortable doing. But actually, when he's been asked to do those things, Wan-Bissaka has actually been able to do those things. But they're very specific things.
There's one last counter I'll offer before we go to Johnny, right? Which would be, when it comes to build-up play, Wan-Bissaka doesn't match what Ten Hag wants, right?
Probably.
He doesn't. So the problem we have is both of these fullbacks are flawed. So actually, Ten Hag's between a rock and a hard place. It's why I don't cry when Ten Hag has a decision that I don't particularly agree with, because I can see logic in what he wants. But also, if you keep Wan-Bissaka, then your second choice fullback doesn't offer you good build-up play. But in the final third, he times runs well, but his end product is still average anyway when it comes to crossing. He crosses more. He's more, I think he works with, in the final third, not build-up, not to the edge of the box, but the deepest part of the football pitch, attacking thirds. I think he works with Anthony better. But then the end product ain't there. But then if you keep Dalot, I think you've got good build-up play, but then you don't have anything. You don't have anything. What people think Dalot's not an excellent attacking fullback. His build-up play is good. People say it's excellent because they're comparing it to Wan-Bissaka's horrible form last season. Compared to the best in the world, Dalot's build-up play is decent to good at best. There's no higher than that. And in the final third, you don't really.
No, but he's had moments where his build-up play has been. You don't offer like he's had moments. He's had moments.
You don't offer anything significant, and then now I've got in Frimpong and Dalot. I know when we play PSG, we're done on that right-hand side. Or what you're going to do, you're going to play a centre-back there because you don't trust those two. Now it gets techie. I don't want it to get techie, but Ten Hag's between a rock and a hard place, in my opinion. Johnny, what's your thoughts on this? It would seem that Dalot is Ten Hag's preference and he's going to get rid of Wan-Bissaka. Do you agree with that decision?
I don't think it's just to address the point first. I don't think it's a trust thing, personally. I think, like, before World Cup, Dalot was the man. He was playing well. He was in form. He was getting all his plaudits. If you remember, he got injured. Wan-Bissaka got his chance, and he took his chance. And I feel like I don't think it's a trust thing. I just think that Wan-Bissaka has been playing good. I'm not saying he's world class or elite. He's just been playing good. He's been.
That's it. But that's what Ten Hag is looking at, Johnny. That's exactly what Ten Hag is looking at as well. Like you can do all this other trust stuff behind it, but which player's been playing better? Wan-Bissaka's been playing better. So
I feel like Ten Hag's quite a simple man, if I'm honest. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'll try to adapt. But Wan-Bissaka's just been playing well since the World Cup, since it ended. He's just been playing well.
So why does he want to sell Wan-Bissaka and give Dalot a new contract?
This is what, obviously, I'd look. I know prior to this season, he wanted to sell him. You know that, Daniel, as well. And obviously, Glazonomics changed that. So.
Woodward's contract and what he paid for him.
But circumstantially, Wan-Bissaka has been given the opportunity and he's taken it. Now, I'm not saying that he should be our starting right back for a title-winning team or title-challenging team. I don't think he's that level. But we've had this discussion like on a plethora of times on Spaces, Daniel. And my take on it is, what does Dalot excel in? He doesn't excel at anything. His crossing's terrible. He's defensively suspect, and he's not great. He doesn't do overlapping or anything. I think it was Terry Flowers coined the phrase perfectly. He looks good doing nothing. So he does though. He just looks good doing no. And I'm not saying he's a bad player, but when you have to,
No,
really,
I've never heard that one before. That's a good one.
Do you know what it is, Johnny? Yeah? Do you know what it is? I don't know what his shout out to Arian. I don't know what his floor is. I don't know what his foundation is. So Wan-Bissaka can be in Dallo. So Wan-Bissaka can be in the worst form in his life, and I know one-on-one he's going to be excellent. On his worst day, that's not the case for Dallo. Dallo's out of form, and yet all the things he's allegedly excellent at, you don't really see.
And not just that, I don't see.
You know what I'm saying? Do you get what? Like his build-up play, which is the best part of his game, when he's not in form, he's not making an impact of his build-up play when he's.
But do you see my point now then? Because that's literally my whole point is, for me, I think when Ten Hag's he's football mad, so we know he, you know.
But you know,
he doesn't just want the team to play good football, but he wants the team to be reliable.
But you know what it is? I'd still trust Dallo on his worst day as the fullback who's holding that space in the right CM role when we have the ball in the final third. I'd still trust Dallo on Wan-Bissaka on his worst day in that position. And unfortunately, it would seem that that's what Ten Hag values. He's looking at what he can do with the football versus what's going to happen without it.
Yeah,
that's what.
I get that. I get that. Actually, I get that point. I do get that point.
Yeah. Sorry, Johnny. Do you want to wrap up on this and then we'll go to the next topic?
Again, I don't know what Dallo excels in, and I have to be honest. I'll be honest. I do think Wan-Bissaka's got better on the ball. I don't think he's as bad as he used to be. I think he's got better. I'm not saying now he's easy on the eye, quote unquote, but I do think he's got more competent on the ball. He does overlap defenders and he does get crosses in. So when you're talking about the full package, I think he'd be a better backup than Dallo, personally. I feel like if the manager says to Wan-Bissaka, I need you to do this, and this, nothing else. Like Wan-Bissaka's when people, he's not a flair player. He's not got that kind of imagination. He'll just do exactly what it says on the tin. I need to be here and I need to do this and I need to do that. So logically thinking, I don't know why the manager would want to get rid of Wan-Bissaka, and I can't believe him saying this. If you'd have asked me this last year, Daniel, my opinion would have been completely different.
That's exactly what I was going to end this on. I can't believe after what we saw last season, I'm on a stream and everybody's in agreement. We should get a new fullback, but actually, Wan-Bissaka is probably his skill set's better for the number 2 if you're getting good possession, good attacking from your number 1.
Nah.
What did I say to you at the start of the season in a space, Johnny? I told you, write your list of players you think we should keep and sell.
You did.
And I promise you, there will be a shock in there somewhere because of Ten Hag's coaching. He'll make average players look average, good players look good, very good players look very good, and even elevate 1 or 2. Wan-Bissaka is somebody that he's elevated.
No, Indiana, we're not playing Donny at right back. That's not happening, Indiana. Shut up.
On this, let's go to the next topic. Let's talk Man United's transfer strategy and let's talk Gravenberch because more briefings coming out now. This guy's pretty reliable. He's pretty reliable. Out of Florian Plettenberg. And by the way, there was some quotes attributed to Gravenberch about 2 or 3 days ago, where he said he expected to be playing more games at Bayern Munich, and he actually feels a little bit betrayed. And he allegedly basically said, "I know how to fix this. Take that as you will." I took it as he was saying, "I'm going to fix this by leaving." And the reason why I bring this up is because Man United are going to be looking at getting a central midfielder this summer, and Gravenberch also said, I know I'm giving a lot of quotes, I just want the backstory to be in there. Ten Hag called him and said, "Do you want to come to Manchester United?" And he said, "Sorry, I've given my word to Bayern. I'm a man of my word. I'm going to go through with that and, go there." So given that it's not worked out for him, is this something you guys would be interested in seeing? How would you guys feel about Erik Ten Hag signing Gravenberch this summer? I'll go to you first, Jimmy. And this is the when it comes to midfield, I'm really
I want to see Premier League midfielders, bro. Like I don't want to take risks with midfielders. I'll take risks with attacking players. I'll probably take a risk with the right back as well, to be fair. Maybe not a left back, but a right back. Happy to take a risk on that side. But with midfield, I genuinely just want the managers to look in the Premier League. And I know that the prices are inflated and everyone's saying, you know, all these players that we're linked with, all their prices going up now all of a sudden because the Qatari links and all this stuff. But I don't want experiments anymore, because for me, Sabitzer is really only a few steps away from, and I know that Gravenberch obviously started ahead of him and all this stuff, and I get that, but on profile, I don't know. I don't think he's that far ahead of Sabitzer for me. I don't think so. I think in terms of adaptability to different styles of play, I think they're both technically good enough to adapt to different styles, I think. So Ten Hag plays a certain way this, next season. Maybe he has to play a certain way the following season because he gets better players. I don't think he's that much better than him. So you might as well just convert this loan deal to a permanent deal. And the next thing is, for me, just I would rather look in the Premier League. I just really would, because I think it's very different for midfielders that have had the experience of what it takes to play in midfield against Arsenal or Chelsea or Man City or Liverpool, and they've had that multiple times. That experience, I think, is just way more valuable than the potential of a Gravenberch for me. So I would.
You know what it is? I love disagreeing with you, Jimmy.
No, I know you love disagreeing with me, Daniel, and you know I stand by this point. You know I've always been on this point.
No, I like disagreeing with you, but also recognizing your point of view and agreeing with you on when it comes to the Premier League proven thing. But I wouldn't call it Premier League proven. It's more
not proven.
But I tell you why. I tell you why I think your point is relevant. Even though this is why I disagree. Technically, he's a completely different profile to Sabitzer. He's superior technically, more versatile. Actually, no, versatility about the same, but technically, on the ball, he's clear of him. Knows the way that Ten Hag wants to play, and he's a ball carrier, right? Man United fans have been saying this for a year. We need a ball carrier. In Gravenberch, you get that, but I wouldn't want him as the number one option. If Sabitzer is available for 25 mil and a cheap option, Gravenberch is a similar price, and that's the guy to replace Freddie McTominay on the bench. In that context, I want a Gravenberch. One of the reasons why
Sabitzer with the season under his belt, don't forget, with the season under his belt.
But I still want a footballer. Like I don't Sabitzer as a footballer. I'm not even going to get into that. So I'd prefer Gravenberch's technical profile over Sabitzer's. I think we need a ball carrier. I think we need that technical superiority. Where I'd have a concern is he's had a year where he hasn't developed. He's had a year when he hasn't elevated his game at all.
Who's that?
Gravenberch. So Ten Hag is going to have to build him up again. You can't bring in a player as your number one option to bench Eriksen or Bruno, whatever your preference is. The guy to go next to Casemiro, he can't be somebody you need to rebuild. That guy needs to be firing on all cylinders, and you need to be sure he's going to adapt to the Premier League, whether he's got wife, children, girlfriend, whatever it is, he's going to be able to adapt to the league. Because funnily enough, he plays for Bayern Munich, and Leroy Sané, he's struggling. He's adapted, but Leroy Sané's partner is in Manchester. These things affect players. I don't know if people know that. His child and his I don't know if it's girlfriend or wife. I think it's his wife.
I can't be away from my missus for a week, bro. So
he's in Manchester, so he travels to Manchester to see his child. These things affect a player. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So when I'm looking at Gravenberch, I don't know what his personal situation is, but I'm just saying that adapting to a new league, you have to do these background checks and be sure that person is going to be able to tick all those boxes. And Gravenberch, again, as the number 2 midfielder, no problems. But as the number 1 guy, be all and end all, not for me. Brian, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think that if, especially, I think Gravenberch goes to Bayern Munich on the merit of his upside and his potential and his talent as a young player. And the fact that he got into that Bayern Munich team over Sabitzer early tells you a lot about the talent level. But he significantly dropped off this season. And you're right, that does hurt a player. And we've seen, I mean, as Manchester United fans, we've seen multiple years. We've had young, promising players have years where they haven't really moved the needle. They haven't really developed. And when you missing out on that development it doesn't help you get to the levels that you need to get to be as successful as you hope to be in your career. And so I think that if Gravenberch comes in as a number one option, there's too much risk in a position in a Manchester United team where risk is not something that you want to have to deal with going into next season. And the less that we can have Fred and McTominay playing together and on less minutes, I think the better the team will be overall in all competitions. And especially because
do you say that because like for me, what is it that you think that Gravenberch brings to Manchester United that Sabitzer doesn't give you now? And I'm not saying this because I'm saying that I'm not saying Sabitzer is better than him, or no, I'm saying on profile, what do you think that he brings?
Gravenberch is a better footballer. It's not even a debate or a conversation.
Daniel, that's not even an answer. You can't respond like that. That's not an answer.
I can.
No, you can't, because that's not a response. You have to give me more detail than that.
Okay.
You can't say he's a better footballer.
Okay, fine. Better passer, better dribbler, better first touch.
It's a bit of a shit passer.
Hold on. No, I didn't say shit. I'm telling you what Gravenberch is better at. Better dribbler, better first touch, yeah. Better ball security, better passer, better in tight spaces, yeah. Better movement, understand Ten Hag's system, yeah, and is a more creative player. And for me, we need a creative player, and he's a better ball carrier. So if I think about what I want,
the tight spaces point.
I ain't done.
How are you measuring that? Tell me how you're measuring that. How are you measuring the tight spaces point? Tell me.
With my eyes, I've seen.
You doing eye test? Are you doing eye test?
How else do I? I can't use stats to judge tight spaces. I'm going to use my eyes. Gravenberch is more skillful. He's more skillful.
Now, Jimmy, I've got stats if it's Bruno.
He's a more skillful football player. And you say profile, pound for pound. What do I want next to Casemiro? I want somebody who's more skillful, who can carry the football, take people on, open up the pitch, disrupt the opposition midfield, and also understands Ten Hag's system. I'll give you an example why. At Ajax, you'd see Gravenberch get the ball from the back four on occasion. You'd see him being that connector on midfield on occasion. And you'd see Ten Hag create that famous final third overload he has with 5 or 6 guys in the final third. And Gravenberch is either receiving the ball out wide, beating a man, linking play, coming inside central and switching the play, or back to goal or in those pockets, just as one of the multiple attackers, again, linking play. His skill set, from a technical point of view, he's clear as Sabitzer. But again, I would not, when we're talking number 2 options, 20, 25 mil, 30 mil, if there is a number 2 option, which is going to contribute.
Real life emojis. Real life emojis. Real life emojis.
For me, last time I checked, we wanted a creative player, somebody with elite technical quality next to Casemiro. That's not Sabitzer. Simple.
So let me ask you a question.
Huh?
No, wait. Listen, Daniel, I don't disagree with your points. But what positions has Sabitzer played under Ten Hag? Where has he been played predominantly?
He's played every position.
That's not fair. That's not fair, is it?
He's played 6, 8, and 10. He's played 6, 8, and 10.
He's not played a 10. When has he played 10?
In the last game against Everton, he played a 10.
Yeah, he played 10.
Not for the whole match. He didn't play 10 for the whole match. He played 10 when the game changed.
You realise he was ill for half of his duration here, and he's only been playing. He got the 2 Leeds games. He's come back recently. So in the sample size that he's
played, he's played mainly when he started for the team. He's mainly come in because Casemiro's not playing. Is that right?
No, that's a different question. That's not a different question.
That's exactly the same question.
He has played 6, 8, and 10 in a Man United shirt. That's a fact.
No, I'm saying the games that he's started.
Those 3 positions. You asked me, where's he played for Ten Hag? 6, 8, and 10.
No, but where has he been deployed as the most important? So when he started the game, where has he played? Number 6, really?
He's played 6, 8, and 10 against Leeds. He was the 6th. In the
Where
second
has he
game,
mainly played? Well, okay, I know everyone's played 6, 8, and 10 in the midfield of Manchester
Exactly.
United. We know that.
To get to what you want to get to, then what are you trying to
No,
get
but
to?
I'm saying the point I'm trying to make is, Daniel, is when he started for Manchester United, where has he predominantly played? He's played in number 6 position
because of Casemiro's injury. Yeah.
So why are you expecting him to be the ball carrier?
I don't. I think it's something we're missing.
How is that fair?
Gives me that.
No, but how is that a fair assessment of his ability? You know, Ten Hag's very specific with
It's not. So this is the thing. It's very, very simple. First of all, you asked me to compare them, so it's not going to be fair once you start nitpicking people's profiles. So if you want to be fair, don't even go there to begin with.
No. The fair thing is, I'm saying.
So what I did at the end was I looked at it. I put Sabitzer to the side. I put Gravenberch to the side, and I said, what do I want next to Casemiro? And lo and behold, Gravenberch just happened to fit from a technical point of view. Yeah, he just happened to fit. What can I say? I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. However, see, this is where you should have got me, Jimmy. I'm gonna debate myself. This is where you should be getting at me. Wait. Let me land this point. You will like this.
Jimmy, check the WhatsApp group.
If you want, maybe
I've just seen the notification, Johnny. I've just seen that.
Maybe I'm wrong, Jimmy. And I thought you were going to go with this. I'm going to debate myself on this. Maybe for the number 2 option, we should be looking at someone who's versatile. Someone who can do the 6 and the 8 row if needed. And Sabitzer fits that bill for a cheap price. And it looks like he's already adapted to the league. I could hear that argument.
I think Sabitzer, and this is my general opinion, so this is general opinion, I think we've not seen enough of Sabitzer because of the instructions that he's been given by the manager so far. And that's not to say...
You mean with Casemiro? So you want to see Casemiro fit, healthy playing, and Sabitzer in a more traditional central midfield role? Is that what you're saying?
In a more... Yes, I would love to see Sabitzer playing in a swappable role with another midfielder. For me, that's what I would like to see.
Listen, Johnny, I'll just
don't think we've seen that at all.
It's not the Jimmy and the Devil and the DL show. You know what? To the point where I don't even want your opinions on this topic. I want to throw something. I want to throw something else at Jimmy and Brian. But Jimmy, listen. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I love debating Jimmy because you know what it is. We low key agree. It's just there's so much nuance to how we see things.
But you're too technical for my liking. You're technical. You just you see like you're seeing.
I'm gonna mute you. Hold on. I'm gonna treat this like a space.
Sometimes you completely forget I.
I'm gonna mute this guy like on a Twitter space. Look, he's muted. Yeah, he's muted just like on a Twitter space. This is the same guy who comes into Twitter spaces and is like, "Why does nobody understand what I'm saying?" And I have to explain to people, no, that's not what Jimmy said. This is actually that. So, and you want to know why that is?
No, it's true.
And you know why that is? And you know why I understand you? It's because you're technical like me. So don't try that. You're just as technical as I am. I'm not having the. I'll stop. So Johnny.
Yes.
I want to throw this at you. Here are the priorities for Man United summer. I assume some of this will be dependent on selling players, but I think maybe the first 2 positions are going to be mainly on what we have to spend, right? So, are you happy with this strategy? Are you happy with this priority list?
Happy with the priority list, but the bigger question for me is, for what I want to see in Man United, I don't think we have that kind of money to facilitate all that. I don't.
Why not? No.
All right, so look.
Yeah, Jimmy, just chill a sec. Like, just have.
But Johnny, I don't care about that aspect. I'll tell you why. Last summer, it was
I know, right?
And Simon Jones was excellent for this. I can't believe someone from the Daily Mail is actually reliable for Man United. We got 2 guys, Mike Keegan for the Qataris as well. So, last summer, they said they're going to get a versatile forward striker or winger. They end up getting a winger, cool, whatever. 2 midfielders, a fullback, and a centre back. That's what they briefed in March. They signed in all those positions. So now we're getting the same briefing they're going to execute, whether it's to the quality or standard we want, the players we want, whether they overspend, give somebody the wrong contract, blah, blah, blah. Are you happy with these list of positional targets, Johnny?
Striker, midfielder, centre back, right back, possibly new goalkeeper. Yeah, I am. And on face value, just on that list, yeah, we need a striker. I actually think we need 2 midfielders personally, but one's better than none. I think we need 2.
What, you think we need 2 midfielders?
Yeah, I do. I'm not going down that rabbit hole tonight. I'm just not going down there tonight. But yeah, we need a.
Wonder why that is.
One sec. We need another centre back. That's not to shit on Varane. I would never disrespect Varane, but he's not getting any younger, and he's getting a little bit injury prone, and he's not the best on the ball. That's not I don't like speaking bad on players of his ilk because they've done so much in the game, but just from a pure objective standpoint, not disrespecting his legacy at all, I do think we need to get something sorted this season or next season because he's not getting any younger. And I don't think he's as quick as he once was, and he's not that good on the ball. So I feel like to bring another chess piece in, jigsaw piece to try and bring Ten Hag football to true fruition, I think Varane needs an upgrade personally. And I hate to say that because I love the guy, but if we're being objective, then yeah, right back. I think there's no debate there. There's no debate with the striker. And possibly, listen, how many spaces have we done talking about De Gea? I just took a point on board of talking about it now. But the simple fact is, he's getting a new contract. So that tells me he's not going anywhere. Whether you like it or not, he's not going anywhere. And if you speak to De Gea, I guarantee you, I'm 99.9% certain he thinks he's going to be the number 1 for the foreseeable future. He wants that.
But the guy thinks he's better than Manuel Neuer. So
yeah. So in terms of the list, yeah, I'm happy with the list. But I don't want to bring in 5 average to good players. I want, and I don't want to use the word baller. I want to change the word. I want quality. I'm not using. You put me off using that word. I'm not using it anymore. I want genuine quality coming to that team. I don't want fucking has-beens or fucking average to good. I'm not interested. I want genuine quality football players to interject into that team. That's what I want. If that means with our budget that we've got, we only get 3, then I want 3 quality. If we get 4, I want 4 quality. I don't want two average and 2 quality. I don't want that. I just want quality.
So let me throw it at you like this, right? So sorry, Brian, to delay coming to you. Man United fans are the most unrealistic football fans on planet Earth. They talk about best in class, and I went back and I went back and looked at Tiki's signings at City when he first got there, and we're talking Trevor Sinclair, Mangala, Wilfred Boney, Jesus Navas, Negredo. I forget a whole list of other players that just didn't work out. In his first 2 windows, if I'm not mistaken, 3 windows even, his best signing was Fernandinho. So that league title City got in 13-14 is because that's the 20-goal season from Yaya Toure, David Silva, Aguero, company. Somebody else built that.
Just one more point.
Hold on, Johnny. Wait. You look at Michael Edwards, he did it 2 players at a time. Do you get what I'm saying to you, Johnny? Man United fans seem to have this delusion that the so-called best in class go into the window. Maybe if you're Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, but we're not at that level. Nobody is. Like, let's keep it real. Only a handful of clubs can do that. And even Luis Campos at PSG didn't do that this summer, by the way. You're not going to go and get 4 world-class players in one window.
Yeah, I didn't ask for that.
So like, that being said,
one sec, Daniel. Give an example.
No. So let me give. No. That's what I'm going to ask you. You're probably going to give me the example because I'm going to throw it to Bright next as well. 2 positions there. If you want someone to match the level of Lisandro Martinez and Casemiro, what are the 2 positions from that list you pick?
It's got to be. Look, I think Luke Shaw. He's good for now, and I think we can work with the centre backs that we've got for now. So I'll take centre back out for the season. We can work with what we've got. I think that right back needs addressing. I think that needs addressing.
So, no, Johnny, I don't understand the question. We're not taking anything out. It's very simple. From this list, right? 2 are going to be the level of Sandro Martinez and Casemiro.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So one of them 2 is the right back.
Oh wow, what's the second one?
Second one's the midfielder.
So you need your right back.
One second. I want to give you that logic to my thought. I'm trying to get the base sorted for a springboard for the rest of the team. So and that's not to say that we don't need a good striker, but we need to sort the base out for me. So I think so Johnny. One second, Jimmy. If you've got a top right back, and Luke Shaw's a top left back, I'm not saying I don't think he's world class. I don't think he's the best in the world, but I can say he's a top left back, right? So you've got Luke Shaw top left back, you've got Martinez, you've got Varane, and then a top right back. I think that's more than workable.
When you put a central midfielder next to Casemiro.
Yes. Does that not make sense to you?
Johnny, I can't lie. Yeah, that does make sense. I'm shocked. Let's go to Brighton next. We'll discuss it.
What a backhanded compliment that was.
I can't believe I heard Johnny say, I want to get the base sorted. Like, who's this guy I'm talking to? Let's go to Brighton next.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the briefing goes, yeah, I mean, I guess out of all the positions that I guess over the course of this past season and seasons before, where holes have been in the team, that these are pretty much most of them, probably not all of them. I'm surprised that like there aren't more. I'm surprised that like a wide player isn't on there, considering that how poor our wide players has been for the majority of the season. But starting to like Sancho's starting to improve a little bit. Anthony has qualities, and he's coming along as the season goes on as well. And I have time for both of those players. I'm interested in kind of where I guess some other positions weren't added on there, but I get you can't get rid of you can't get a whole new 11 in one window. But yeah, I think this is completely fine. I'm interested in they probably wouldn't know this. Is the order in lists of priority, or is it just these are the positions that the conversations are about?
I'll be honest, it looks like it isn't priority, which is why the centre back thing has surprised me to be above right back. It might not be the case, but if it was, I wouldn't be mad at that, because are you looking at a centre back who can do what Ben White does? Because if you are, then you're talking my language.
Just to add to that, right? Just to quickly add to that. Maybe Tenag's thinking, not my thinking, his thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get that base sorted, right, and you get that midfield looking better. I'm not saying world class, but better. You would expect Antony's had a full season in the Premier League. Sancho looks like he's getting better. I say that loosely at the minute because he's had a few games. There's a lot more to do yet for what we paid for. Well, what I'm saying is, maybe he's thinking the forward line is starting to click a little bit. Maybe by the time we have a full pre-season and by the time the season's finished, they'll be ready to give us more substance next year. I'm still not saying the best front line in the Premier League. What I'm saying is no one is expected. Maybe Tenag might be thinking that, but we're not expected to win the Premier League next year. Let's just call a spade a spade. We're not expected to win it. We're still in that. This is the first season of our journey under Tenag. So maybe he's thinking, if I get the rest of the team sorted,
it depends who we buy, though. I think the Premier League might expect us to win it.
Listen, I'm on board this Harry Kane hype. I'm on board with it. But, and this is a big but, he's going to swallow up most of our transfer budget. Daniel Levy is a shrewd businessman. So if you're not going to get Harry Kane, I would rather put the money to the rest of the team and let Rashford keep cooking. I don't know what he's going to do with Martial. But Anthony's had a full season, and then Sancho you would hope that he's going to have a resurgence next year and be the Sancho that we all hoped he'd be. So for me, you put the rest of the money in the midfield and the defence, and you're kind of banking on a prayer here, but you pray that the forward line kicks in again next year, because Harry Kane is going to swallow up our entire transfer budget. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And not just that. Just to add to that, one more point. You think Daniel Levy is going to give it like first month at transfer window? No, he's going to haggle and haggle and haggle and haggle, and the transfer window is just going to get eaten up and eaten up and eaten up and eaten up. And then guess what happens? We don't end up getting Kane, and now we're left with his tail between his legs, not knowing what to do.
Do you know what it is, Johnny? I don't think there's a right or wrong here if two of the players on this list end up matching Casemiro and Martinez's level.
Yeah.
Right? Like, genuinely. like if you get a striker and a midfielder to match their level, then you're cooking. In fact, I'm sure Indiana's watching saying, no, actually, striker and midfielder gives you more than, say, midfielder and centre-back, because you want a second source of goals to Marcus Rashford. So I've contradicted myself and changed my mind as I've been speaking when I think about it. So
that's kind of my thought too.
My two would be, a striker and midfielder for me. 1 and 2.
Yeah,
because midfield is part of the base. Midfield is part of the base, and striker was part of the base. And Frimpong, even though he's a ceiling raiser,
not the base.
No, midfield is part of the base. Midfield is part of the base, and striker is part of the spine. So if I've got a world-class striker in Harry Kane, and I go back and forth on that, but he's world-class, I'm just not being petty about it. And a midfielder who's good as Casemiro next to him, I don't
know if you heard what I just said then, Kane is going to probably swallow up 75% of our budget, if not 80%.
Well, this is the thing. So the centre-back, why are we getting a centre-back in Ten Hag's second season that's going to bench Varane? It's not going to happen. So having a centre-back better than Varane in Ten Hag's second season, ahead of having a striker who's clear of all of our other forwards, no, not for me personally. And the right-back, Frimpong's not going to cost a bucket load of money. So the budget for me, you know what I need to happen? And then we'll go to Jimmy and get Jimmy to pick his two. Last summer, they said 120, sell players, and then there'll be more money. That's no way to approach a window when you're competing with everybody else. No. If you have the 200 million again, because we've got Champions League football, blah, 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 give John Murtagh the 200 million at the start of the window. It's moving on Ed Woodward contracts is a poison chalice. Harry Maguire's on 180. His contract hindering his sale will become a narrative.
Oh, yeah.
If we wanted to sell Martial, he's on 200 grand a week, right? Yeah. That's going to be a narrative that's hindering his sale. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So if that's where, I don't expect us to get money for Martial anyway, but if we're supposed to be getting money for a Harry Maguire, even Lindelof, anybody who's on more than 100 grand a week is going to be problematic to sell. With the Man United fans, realise this. In Serie A, there's not a bucket load of players making that money. Spanish football, forget it. Bundesliga, it's not. French football, one team. Like, I don't think Man United fans understand. Sending Murtagh into the window to get players for Ten Hag with, say, 40% of his budget dependent on sales, poison chalice. Recipe for disaster. Let's not do that. 200 million, if that's the budget, even if it's 180, 150.
Why do you think it's going to be so high, Daniel?
No, 150, 160,
I think it's going to be 150 at most.
I don't care what it is, right? It has to be more than 120. If it's 200 again, he has to have it in May and know he can spend that for Ten Hag. If Ten Hag says striker midfielder, then blah, blah, blah. Do it in that way, according to getting that whole budget at the start of the window. None of this 120, see what you can do, find out how much them will cost, kick it up to Joe Glazer. Actually, I don't want to increase the budget. Look at Arnautovic. Have a look at Rabiot. They're cheap. We can't do those deals? Fine. Here you go. Here's extra money. Now you've ended up paying 90 million for Anthony. You're getting Casemiro late. You could have had a pre-season. People will say it's because of the incompetence of the footballing people. In reality, you don't send... We're Man United Football Club. Why are we sending anybody into the window with 120 saying, wait till you can raise money through sales before you get the rest of the bread? 200 million, whatever it is, 180, give it to them up front. Brian, I didn't get your two on this priority. What would it be?
Yeah. My priorities with this list would be easy. It would be striker and midfielder for me. I feel like I don't disagree with Johnny's idea of saying like we want to have the base sorted. I think that's a completely legitimate and fine way to build a team, and a lot of people would build teams that way. But I feel like a lot of trying to improve things defensively, the groundwork has started to get laid there from Ten Hag, bringing in Martinez, Casemiro, Malacia, and then reinstating other players around, helping to elevate players. So I think that he's trying to kind of build the base, but I know that Ten Hag also wants to play a style of football where we maintain possession, where we can recycle attacks at a higher rate than we currently are. And we're going to need players in positions higher up the pitch to be able to help us do that. So we're going to need a striker who's going to add goals onto what Marcus Rashford is already giving to the team. Because right now he's our only consistent goal scorer. And then we're going to need a midfielder to play alongside Casemiro in that engine room as well. And I think that if now I will say, if we end up splashing big on the striker, because if we end up splashing big on the striker and we end up, say, like Gravenberch becomes available and he's at a reasonable price, I think I'd be okay with that given what's around him with Eriksen, Casemiro, and who knows what will happen with Sabitzer this summer. He could end up being that midfielder purchase. I don't think that that's necessarily good enough. I want somebody in addition to him, if that was the case. But for me, it'd be those two positions. Give us a bit more energy, a bit more potency going forward than I think that we lack a little bit right now. I think right back is a position that could use improving and actually could help us significantly in how we build up the football from the back. But I don't feel like it's as big of a priority right now as some of those other positions, personally.
I hear that. Quick shouts before we go to Jimmy. Shout out to Cam, Canadian Cam, Indiana Alex, Odiyemi. Shout out to Ray Ray, who I know was in there before. Shout out to Nonchalant. Shout out to who else is in here? Okay, those names in there. I'm going to butcher this Nigerian name. Shout out to you. I'm not going to butcher your name. Shout out to Troy Taylor. Shout
you should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed with yourself as a Nigerian man.
Listen, man. Listen, I was raised in England. People call people by their first name. I grew up around Bear Daniels and David, and you know what I mean.
Kapemba.
Yeah, me. Blah blah blah. All right, sell Martial, back Benzema to come to the run at the Premier League. Yeah. So I'm saying about Man United fans. You know what I'm saying about Man United fans?
Yo, fucking hell. Yo, people, I don't get this. Like, I don't know why people do this, man. It's weird, man. It's weird.
Kane, Casemiro, Frimpong, Costa would be a dream. So you're going striker, midfielder, fullback, goalkeeper, 65 mil, 100 mil on Frimpong, and then 200 million for Kane and Caicedo are close to.
People are willing to pay £100 million for Frimpong. Can you believe this?
No, not Frimpong. He's going to cost a lot less than that. It's Caicedo. If it's true that 70 million was rejected for Arsenal, what's he going to cost?
What's he going to cost? Daniel, can I? You need to come. Can I go into my players like where I think?
Yeah. What's your out of this? If you had to. I'll phrase the question again because you're going to be clipped up the most from the stream, Jimmy. I'll be honest with you. So I'll ask the question again.
I ain't said too much.
From this list, yeah, if you could pick two players, and I'm going to guarantee you, if you pick these two positions, they will match Casemiro and Lisandro Martinez's level. What positions are you picking?
I'm probably completely different to everyone else because for me, people keep saying, we need 2, 3 midfielders. I've heard people say we need 3 midfielders.
Jimmy, just pick your damn positions. Pick your 2.
If I was going to pick 2 positions that we need to strengthen, I would say midfield and a striker. That's it. That's good enough for me.
That's an L.
We agree. Why would it be midfield and a striker for you?
Because for me, when you made the point about the ball carrying midfielder, I agree with that. I think we do need a midfielder that can carry the ball, and I think, but it has to be. And this is where I disagree with so many names that are being thrown around, is because if we're going to buy a midfield, we have a lot of midfielders at the club. If we're going to buy a midfielder, it has to be a midfielder that, of course, can carry the ball. That's what we need. But they have to also have the versatility to do the rest of the other stuff. Because we know what Ten Hag is like. We know he switches and changes his midfield around so much that they all have to be versatile enough to be productive in any of the 3 midfield positions. So for me, buy a midfielder. 1 is enough, but it has to be one that's versatile enough to be able to do the 3 roles in midfield. Now, I'm not saying they have to do them perfectly, because I think if you look at Barcelona kid that we tried to sign,
we agree, and now we're gonna. You always got me disagreeing with you.
Just wait.
All right, go on.
If you take De Jong, for example, I know that he's going to be productive on the pitch alongside Casemiro, very, very productive alongside Casemiro. However, I know if you put Sabitzer beside him, he's probably not going to be as productive. Now, I'm not saying that he's not good enough to be productive. I'm saying I just need midfielders that will complete the midfield without relying on each other all the time. It has to be midfielders that can do all the roles anytime that they're asked to do the role.
I think getting for 3 roles is a bit unrealistic, although we've seen Ten Hag. Like Ten Hag making Sabitzer and Fred, like Fred playing as a 10 against Betts in the second leg was a joke from Ten Hag. Like Scott McTominay as a 10 is a joke.
No, of course,
he's a madman. I get it. I love him. I know that he's a madman. He'll do these things, but miss me with all of that stuff when we go into the second.
Of course.
Would you prefer the midfielder being able to play 6 and 8 versus just the second midfielder, and that's all it is?
Yeah, 6 and 8 is fine, because the 6 is a little bit more straightforward. I think the 8 is where it gets confusing with Ten Hag's way of playing. So the 6 is fine. It's when the 8 is the conversation, because if you want the midfielder to play a 6 and an 8, well, physically they're going to have certain things about them to be able to play.
I know a player who can do both roles, but he's not sexy. He's not a sexy player. He's not a baller, to quote Johnny. And that
Say
is one Mr. High quality fish and chips himself. Hold on, Jimmy. How would you feel about Declan Rice to solve that problem for you? And I can guarantee you,
I would take Declan Rice, but not for the prices that we're being told.
Or the prices are not what they've been quoted, because he's not going to cost 100 million. So if I could guarantee you, you miss out on a centre back.
What are we doing here, man? We need better.
You miss out on
No. That's a good point. Go on.
Wait, one sec. We're trying to match Roderick, Gundogan, and KDB, and you take Declan Rice.
No. By the way, listen. Anyway,
Johnny always goes extreme, doesn't he?
But
that's what we're trying to do.
You get Declan Rice, and you get Gravenberch instead of the centre back. You taking that deal, Jimmy, and you get a world class striker. I am the devil in the detail, so I can make these deals. You taking that deal?
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, I probably am, actually. I'm not gonna lie, I probably am. But only if we can have a conversation about what role Bruno's going to play in that setup in midfield. Because I need Bruno in that team.
Bruno's going to go back to the same role he was against Arsenal when we beat them at Old Trafford. When Ten Hag has his central midfielder, he's going to create his final third overload, and Bruno is going to be closer to Sancho, Rashford, and Antony than he is to the next midfielder. That's how Ten Hag plays. And I keep explaining this to people. They don't want to believe me. And yet you saw Fred next to Workhorse.
So what are you saying? Casemiro, Rice, and fucking Bruno?
Not sexy enough.
What are you trying to sell, man?
Oh, no, that's good. That's
no, it could be Casemiro.
That's not bad.
Hold on.
That's not a bad midfield. You can give me that. I'm happy with that.
It can be Rice.
I am happy with that.
It can be Rice, Casemiro, Gravenberch. It can be Rice, Casemiro, Bruno. It could also be Rice, Gravenberch, Bruno. It can be any one of those variations. What's wrong with that? It's not sexy for you.
I haven't watched any good Gravenberch, so I don't know. But I don't know. You lot.
There's a guy.
No, it is, yeah. You're terrible salesman. You're not sold me.
So Johnny, if I showed you a comp from a guy called Ricinho or something like that, from Portugal, you could play on the half turn. Would you take him?
Hey, and he's got slick black hair going.
Plays just like Declan Rice, but he's got a foreign name
with gelled hair, slick black hair going back in it.
And he's got swag. You taking him?
Yeah, he's got swag. He dances. Dances salsa. You know what I mean? You know them ones.
You know what it is? Look, I can do this topic all day long, but it's going to turn into a Twitter space. We are on the stream, so I do need to keep it moving on the topics.
I keep him moving, man. It's good.
Do need to hold on a second. Wait, Indiana makes me laugh. No room for Donny.
Get out of here.
No, but Indiana's an instigator, isn't he? He's an instigator. He's an
Do you
instigator.
know what it is though? Yeah. Do you know what's gonna annoy me? Like I don't want Declan Rice because I want a more. I'll be honest, I do want a more sexy player. I get on Johnny for Baller FC, but I do want a more. I want
honestly, I can't wait to see Casemiro, Rice, and Bruno against Rodri, Gundogan, and KDB.
No. But Casemiro, listen, in big matches, Casemiro and Declan Rice are stopping people, so I know what you're talking about. But I know if Declan Rice goes to Arsenal, he's going to cook, and people like Johnny would say, "Oh, he's better than I thought he was," and I'm gonna hate him.
Wait, I haven't said Rice is a bad player.
I didn't say he said he was a bad player.
No, but that's what it sounds like you're implying.
All right, Declan Rice is going to be a top player, whether people like it or accept it. He's going to be a top player. Yeah, he's not going to be sexy. He's not going to be your favorite. You're not going to tell.
But he's going to be a top player. He's going to be a top player.
But he's going to be a performer.
Yeah, he's going to be a performer every time. Yeah.
People just need to. He's not going to be your preference, though. There's a difference.
I just think like Rice is just like a solid player.
No, but you know what, Daniel, Rice is like.
Do you know what Rice is?
Rice is like Rice.
One second. Do you remember when that fraud Souness called fucking Casemiro steady Eddie? That fucking fraud.
Rice ain't a steady Eddie though. He's not.
Nah, he's a steady Eddie, man.
No, he's not. He's not. You want to what I saw last season? The team ain't doing as well, but he's not a steady. You know what it is? Like, so now, you see how Johnny called him a steady Eddie, Jimmy? Johnny, a year from now, he's more than a steady Eddie. He's better than
listen, Daniel, you know one thing about me, yeah? I am open to change my opinion.
No, but you know what? I think you can. This is why you can't call Rice a steady Eddie at all. I don't think. Like you can't call.
He's like a
Michael Carrick. You couldn't call Michael Carrick a steady Eddie. I think you call Fletcher a steady Eddie. You can't call Michael
Carrick a steady Eddie.
No, I'm saying Michael Carrick is not a steady Eddie,
right.
But Fletcher is a steady Eddie. So if you're looking at players that came in the team, they were guaranteed to not do bad, but it doesn't mean they're going to be amazing. Whereas Michael Carrick, every time he played, for me, Michael Carrick was a 6 at worst, 10 most of the time. He played football, he played football properly, and I love that. For me, that's what I look for.
I just need to see some more.
So when I look at Rice, Johnny, when I look at
midfield, man, he's dry.
Johnny,
say the word. What do you want in midfield, Johnny? Be honest. You want a baller?
I just like.
You want a baller?
Names.
I just need a bit of Tabasco in there. Just a bit of Tabasco sauce.
Names. Any names?
Look,
I don't know Tabasco. Tabasco's last.
No, Daniel, would you not take Ruben Neves over Rice?
No, Declan Rice is a better player than Ruben Neves. What is wrong?
I don't know. I don't think he is.
That's the thing. That's the Dallo thing. Looks good doing nothing. Declan Rice is better than Ruben.
Oh, that's an insult, man.
He's better. Right, moving on. We've been at this for 1 hour and 40 minutes.
Okay, bring Paul Pogba back. Big shout, Cam, man. Shout, Cam.
Did I just say bring Pogba back? What's wrong with him? So
bring Pogba back.
Shout out to everybody watching at home. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We are going to be trying to do this every Monday at 8 p.m. So yeah, make sure you share this in your WhatsApp groups, your Twitter groups, etc., etc., so we can get more eyes on this and we can be motivated to keep on going. Final topic for tonight is going to be Sevilla. We're going to preview the Sevilla game. We're going to do a preferred 11. Casemiro's back, so I'm going to slot him straight in the 11 and we'll debate who we want in there. And I always like starting with midfield when it comes to these things. I don't like to do it in order, right? I like to mix it up a bit so I can argue with Jimmy mostly. That's the motivation here. Casemiro's in the DM position. I think we all know Johnny's favorite player, Bruno Fernandes, is going to start. So,
yay.
This might actually not, I think this might end up being straightforward, you know. Let me just remove that so we can see Jimmy's face. Give me a second. So, central midfield, right? That final central midfield position. Who do you guys want there? The bit of Fred McTominay. We'll go to
So
Brighton.
Who have we got? Who have we got fit? We've got.
Wait,
Fred.
why are we even arguing about this?
We're going to go to Brian first. Brian, Fred, McTominay, Sabitzer.
I swear,
Who you
anyone
put in
says
that midfield?
Johnny, relax. Johnny, relax.
I will find a way to jump into this computer and bitch slap you if you say McTominay.
No, Johnny, relax. This is fine. It's fine.
Go
Relax.
ahead, Brian. Can't hear you. Are you muted? Did I mute you? No, I just can't hear you.
It's muted.
I think you might have muted yourself, Brian. You're not muted on my end.
Brian, you're mute.
There we go.
No, you're still on mute.
Leave and come back. Just leave and come back. Do you know what it is? I hope he's not going to take too long. I hope he picks McTominay. Right?
Sure, man.
Just to annoy you. I hope he does pick McTominay.
I won't take him serious. I can't take anyone serious.
You know what it is, though? I think Sabitzer's very, very popular at the moment.
Yeah, he is with me as well. He is with me. I've got some special love for him at the moment. I like he's shown me like 2 or 3 things that I thought, oh shit, I never saw that in you before. So you know, do you know what? I'm all right with him right now. I really am.
Brian, let's do a mic check. Make sure you're back with us.
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
No, man, something's happened on your laptop, Brian.
I
keep
swear
trying
it's
to figure
literally
that
probably
out.
just me.
Right, the Glazers don't want your TV 11. The Glazers have interfered.
I'll leave you in the stream.
What, the Glazer campaign? The Glazer campaign is.
Well, let's not fuck about it. We all know Eriksen's going in there.
Oh, really? Hold on a second. Are we home or away? I should know the answer to that question.
Do you know what? I agree with Johnny on that one. You know,
you guys are throwing Eriksen in the deep end.
Yeah, I would because he didn't start, but he came on, so I think he can start now. And I think this game is important enough for him to play a starting role. Daniel. I really do.
Yeah.
You guys are out of your minds.
Yeah, no, I know, Daniel. No,
I don't care.
I know you're going to...
What did he play? 15 minutes of football against Everton?
So what?
And you think he's ready first leg?
No, but Daniel,
to play against what? Sevilla? What? Just because they've won it before?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Brian. And you're just going to throw Eriksen in the deep end.
The manager will pick Eriksen.
Needs to go in the deep end on this one.
You guys like seeing players fail. You like
no. Wow. How did you make that conclusion?
Okay, wait, one sec.
If a player's been out, hold on a second. If you have a football player who was struggling to complete more than an hour before he got bloody taken out by that fug Andy Carroll, right?
Well,
yeah. Then he's coming back from injury. He plays 15 minutes, and the first 90 minutes game you want to give him is Sevilla.
Listen, I'm not saying he should play 90 minutes, but he should start.
Give me 1 second. We all know Fred likes a big game. He likes to rise to the occasion lately on big games. I would put Fred in, and I'd bring Eriksen on 60th minute mark if the game needs it. I think that's a more sensible approach.
Look at you. We're at home, by the way. So, are we at home?
Is that not a better alternative?
Yeah, no, we are at home on this one.
Yeah, we are at home.
This is a home.
Play Fred.
Right. Fred. I'm undecided. Jimmy's saying Eriksen. Who would you go with, Brian?
Yeah, I wouldn't put Eriksen there, especially because I think against Sevilla we're going to need to battle, and that's one thing that Eriksen does. He didn't battle it. He didn't battle before he got injured.
Who's going to battle at Sevilla? What midfield is going to battle?
Fred will battle.
No, what Sevilla midfielders are going to battle Manchester United midfielders? Tell me, what midfielders?
Sevilla are going to try and play football.
They pass the ball. They don't battle. They're not going to battle in midfield. They battle in the wings.
Do they? Because they're Why? Because they're Spanish and called
Spanish
Sevilla.
teams need to play football.
No. This is pure eye test. No.
So you guys were watching Sevilla this season, yeah?
I didn't say that. That's not what I said.
No, Daniel, I've watched them a few times this season. They're not battling in midfield.
Sure you have.
How have I flip-flopped? I ain't flip-flopped.
And you know what? And I'll tell you what. Wait. Wait. 1 second. I'll tell you what games I've watched. You've
got receipts.
Go on, carry on.
He's got the receipts.
He's got receipts.
I'm going to get the receipts. Yeah, I'll tell you what games I've watched.
I'm saying purely on the occasion. The fact that Sevilla are severely underperforming in their league, but they've gone far in the Europa League, they're going to want to win this. They're going to want to make it difficult for Manchester United away to give themselves a really good opportunity to beat us and go through in the second leg. So I think they're going to make it. They're going to make it really difficult for us. It's not the same Sevilla team that we've been playing against in the past, but I think they will. I think they will make it difficult. And if Eriksen has to get into a physical battle with any midfielder on any other team, he's going to shirk that challenge. He's done it in the past. I don't want him in there.
Eriksen could make Odegaard look good in a physical battle. That's how bad he's
gonna shirk that. So I mean, any other midfielder for me, and he just came back from injury.
We don't need the receipts, Jimmy. What I would say, let's say you're right. I don't want the receipts, but if you're right and Sevilla don't have any midfielders that are going to battle, then that makes me not want Eriksen in there to start even more, because I know now we can outfight them.
No, I'm not saying
Brian, who did you pick?
I'm saying they don't. That's not been their.
That's a good thing. Then we should look to do that.
Strategy. Yeah. It's not been their strategy.
Brian, apologies. Who did you pick, Brian?
I would put Fred in there.
2 votes for Fred. Jimmy?
I would put Fred in there actually, because I think it brings slightly more. So yeah, I would put Fred in there.
Can I ask why not Sabitzer?
Because I think Sabitzer seems to play better when he comes on rather than when he starts.
I chose against Sabitzer because I still have question marks over his fitness. Is he back to full fitness now?
Oh, no, he is. Yeah, he's fit. He's fully fit.
Okay.
Well, I ain't gonna fight you guys. We can do this by committee. I don't agree with this. I'd have Sabitzer over Fred. Maybe even McTominay over Fred. I think Fred's form, maybe he'll surprise me in it, but
shout out to Elzo, man. Elzo will be up here.
Yeah, I'd stay away from Fred for the time being. Now, Marcus Rashford, is he fit? Is he not fit? So let's assume he's not. Workhorse to Martial.
I should slap you just for fucking asking that. And that deserved a swear word. You dickhead.
Why? What? I think it's a fair question. What's wrong with that question? It's a fair question. What's wrong with the question?
Not even entertaining that question. No,
Why not? Why not? Workhorse, apparently. Wait. There's a lot of Man United fans. They call him Techie Weggy, number one. And also, they want him to be signed permanently. So why?
They call him Techie Weggy, Wiggy Weggy, Waggy Woggy. Okay, what they call him? He's not starting off Martial.
So, let's be serious now. So, this is where Rashford's injury is problematic for me. It may force Erik ten Hag, one, to play Workhorse who I don't want to play, who I don't want to see playing. But on the flip side of that, he ends up rushing Martial back sooner for a start than he intended to, which defeats the purpose.
But Daniel, last two games, Martial's had cameos, so he should be ready to start.
Johnny, this is what I'm saying. If the plan was, if they had a program to ease him back into the team, Rashford's injury has now thrown that program out the window. I don't care how many minutes he played in the previous 2 games. In my opinion, if Rashford is healthy, we see Sancho, Rashford, Anthony. So Rashford's absence means they are now going to deviate from whatever program they have if they start Martial. And the last time I was in a stream, shout out to Saeed Inside TV, it was the Everton game, all the way back in September, October, and I said, I can tell the way his body's been breaking down, if Ten Hag rushes him back and it looks like he's going to, he will get injured in this game. Oh, just like I predicted somebody might kick Eriksen, so don't play him against Reading, and it happened. So, me personally,
change the manager recently.
I don't want to see Workhorse. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him. But
Workhorse is going to start. He's going to start.
I'd rather, considering we're Old Trafford, and Ten Hag can always make a substitution if it's not working, right? I think it makes sense not to rush Martial back for a start if that wasn't the plan. If it was the plan, that's different. Well, I don't think it was. Start Workhorse and bring Martial on after 45 minutes, even when it's clear Sevilla are pressing high and it's pointless because Workhorse can't get in behind. I'm happy with that strategy.
Can you imagine? I mean, can you imagine if Ten Hag rushes Martial back and he gets injured in this game with Rashford also being injured? The season's done.
Oh yeah,
it's over. Like, forget it.
I don't.
I wouldn't say the season's over, but it's a big blow. Like, Casemiro back. You know, we get Eriksen and Casemiro back, and now Rashford and Martial potentially could be out because we rushed Martial back because of Rashford's injury. Knock-on effect. Jimmy, what's your thoughts on this? Who would you start, Weghorst or Anthony Martial?
No, I don't want to see Weghorst starting for Manchester United, to be honest. And this is, I've said, you know, I did the video, Daniel Wells, saying Weghorst is like a secret weapon. But the problem, you know what, with a secret weapon, if you tell everyone that this is where you're hiding your secret weapon, it doesn't work anymore. It's not a
secret weapon.
It doesn't work anymore because Weghorst was this like, and I was saying this on a space earlier, and this is the point. So you're gonna have to let me land this point. But Weghorst was a bit of an enigma because when a lot of managers were looking at Manchester United with Weghorst in the team, they didn't know how to plan for him because you don't know whether he's going to be played as a full number 9. Is he going to play false 9? He's going to play in the number 10. So it was a bit of a, like, managers couldn't plan for him, and he was playing in this role where defenders couldn't plan for him either. So you had captains on the pitch not knowing what to tell their counterparts because they're like, what do I tell my guys? Like, do you should we mark him close or should we?
One second, right? If we're saying that we're going to bring Martial on for 45 minutes in the second half, right? That's what we're saying, yeah. So
no.
Wait. No, Daniel said that a second ago. He did say that. 1 second, Daniel said that, right? My point is, why not start Martial, get the game won, or at least get a goal or two up, and then take Martial off?
Because that's not what our team does.
Because
I don't want to see him in the team because I don't think he is that what he was a few weeks ago anymore. Because I think now it's very obvious. They know, just pretend to put a man on him. Pretend. You don't have to put a man on. Pretend to put a man on him. No matter what position he's playing, and he's out of the game. So you're playing against 10 players.
Indiana's killing me.
No disrespect to him. I'm not saying this. I'm not slandering him. I'm not saying this as like a disrespect to him. I'm just saying, figure it out. Just pretend to put a man on him, because they only have to be on him for a few seconds and get off him. He doesn't really know what to do with the ball. So I think he's been found out, and I think his days are gone at my.
I shout, Rachel.
but I still think, Johnny, that if he comes on in the 60th, 70th minute, he can still do a job. Weghorst, I think he can, but I don't think you should play him in the role that the roles that he's been playing in the last.
Leave my boy Marcel alone, man. Leave him alone. Getting cooked in comments.
Martial's my guy. He changes a lot. Changes a lot. Changes everything.
While I'm deliberating in my mind, so
we're going 2 hours already.
It's flown by. I can talk to you guys. It's flown by. Let's go. Just because I don't want to see Weghorst's name there, we're going to go Martial. Even though I think it's going to be Weghorst, if I'm being honest with you. But we're doing our team. We'll get one of Ten Hag's picks in. No, one of our picks in, which is Martial. It's going to be Anthony. It's going to be Sancho, unless we get thrown a curveball and Bruno ends up on the wing for more legs in midfield. Although who's got more legs than Bruno these days, I don't know. It's going to be Malacia, isn't it? Right? Or sure.
Injured. Which was injured, isn't it?
No idea. We know who the goalkeeper's going to be. It's going to be David De Gea. We know that. I heard some people speculate on whether we'll see Harry Maguire for a second game in a row.
Yeah, do you know what? I think so. I'm quite confident it'll be Maguire.
But we're picking the team. So, we're going to vote on this. Maguire or Varane in this game.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, Daniel.
Say it, Mr. Undefeated, never lost. Pick him.
No,
never lost.
Because Daniel knows how much I've criticized him for so long. Daniel, we're going on a year. I've been criticizing him, but I want I want to see Maguire again, bro. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this.
Wow.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I want to see Maguire again. I do. I was really happy with this performance. I was.
Daniel, you can't bring Jimmy. This is his first and last appearance.
But Johnny, it wasn't. I'm not talking on
the MVP. What do you mean?
This is not. No, this is not just on eye test. When I've looked at the areas the areas where I thought he was doing well, and I've gone and looked at the stats, and the stats are backing it up, and I'm like, oh, flipping it. Why do I like Maguire now? What's going on? Like,
I'd like to know the answer to that question too.
So yeah, I want to see Maguire there. I'm sorry, like I do. I want to see Maguire. I'm so embarrassed.
There's actually a Maguire FC. Fucking Jesus, man.
I know.
We don't do FCs anymore. It's 2023. They're called defense leagues. They're not called
defense leagues. Maguire defense league.
So, shout out to the BDO team. We're gonna go to Brian next. Brian, Maguire, okay, off the stream. All right, you're gone. You're gone. You know, just stay on mute. Actually, you can just sit there on mute. Quick BDO disrespect. I'm not tolerating it. Oh, I'm gonna send like 10 BDO members into your DMs just for that. Brian.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire or Varane?
Please put Varane in this team. I'm saying Varane.
Substance.
I think Johnny might pick Maguire. What are you saying, Johnny?
Yeah, let's go Maguire. Look. Wait. Let's just stop trolling a second. Let's just stop the trolling. Why are we even discussing this? Like, seriously?
Because Maguire hasn't lost since he's been back in the team.
No, do you know what it is? So the only logical argument I could think is, one, we should be good enough to beat Sevilla at home. Number two, Maguire he's better on the ball than Varane, whether people.
Yes. Oh no, he's better at pinging the ball.
Whether people acknowledge, just because Varane doesn't look ugly, taking 5 touches, turning on the ball awkwardly and passing it backwards, just because he doesn't look ugly.
No, Daniel, right? Do you know what it is? Yeah,
Harry Maguire is better on the ball than Varane. Varane doesn't carry it, Johnny, he doesn't carry it past anybody. He carries it, stops.
I know he does.
Puts Dalot in trouble or goes.
This is what I would say, yeah.
And hold on, wait. He does that 7-8 times in a row. No one says anything because it's Varane. Then he'll do one decent pass. So the only argument people could have that's fair and objective, with no bias or hate or PTSD, which is tainted anyway, right? There are people who think Sevilla at home, Harry Maguire. We should be able to have him in the team and get a result. And we're at Old Trafford. We want to play football, and it means Varane gets rest for some big games coming in the Premier League.
No,
what we doing?
I reluctantly agree, and the reason I say that is no. Do you know why I say it? And this is
I can't believe that worked.
This is
that was way too easy.
Listen to my logic, right? Man United at the minute, we are just not blowing teams away. We're not being prolific. We're not blowing teams away. We're getting wins, but we're not blowing anybody away, right? So we'll probably get a 1-0 win at home to Sevilla, probably, right? Hopefully, right? 2-0 at best 2-0. So you would want Varane's experience in Europe to go into Spain to play the away leg, in my opinion, because in that fixture, their manager, imagine they're 2-0 down, he's going to have to throw the kitchen sink at Man United to try and salvage the game. So in that aspect, I want Varane I want Varane there, not over Maguire. That makes sense.
So if I'm looking at our fixtures correctly, right? So I'm thinking it's Sevilla at home. To be fair, it's Forest away, but it's away from home and our away record isn't good. Then we play Sevilla again, obviously. So I guess the way we look at it is this. Are you happy to see Maguire in back-to-back games, knowing that we're going to play Varane back-to-back next? So Varane away at Forest and Varane back-to-back for the
I don't like the
away leg.
I'll tolerate it.
And then bear in mind, it's the Brighton FA Cup semi-final away from home, by the way, the following week. So if Varane's going to play if he's going to play 3 games in a row, why not be Forest, Sevilla, and Brighton before he's rested again? But then
I don't understand.
But you know what? I'm looking at this. Then we play Tottenham 4 days later. So
listen. I don't understand disrespectful towards Forest, right? But if we can't deal with Forest, man, if we can't, I know it's away, but still, it's
Premier League football. 10 games to go. They're fighting for relegation. Are they relegated yet? Or are they still fighting?
Still fighting. Yeah.
In this league, away from home, you don't disrespect anybody. Especially you look at with our away. That's why I said if you look at our away record, you can't disrespect anybody. So I guess my question is, you know, let me do this. Let me go to my tab that has the fixtures there. Give me a second. We'll have a look at that because we need to think about this, right? Because obviously we're all mature here, right? We're not. You know who will just say play Varane every single game because I hate Maguire. We're not going to do that. We're going to be sensible. Look at this from a squad management point of view, right? 3 days. So it's Sevilla Thursday, 3 days, Forest.
Yeah.
4 days, Sevilla. 3 days, Brighton. 4 days, Tottenham.
Yo, why is this not being talked about? Who else has got these kind of fixtures? Like, I want to know.
When you think about it, these guys are going to get back on Friday on the 14th, a recovery day. So it's 2 days prep for Forest. Yeah.
I want to see everyone else's fit. Is everyone else like? Is this just normal this season?
Yeah, Jimmy. Everyone else is in the same competitions as us. Like left, they will have similar.
But my question, shout out to anybody watching. My question to you would be: so what? We just rest Varane for the Forest game?
No, I'd play. Yes, because like you said, Forest is away. But then, so you play. You want
to play Maguire away from home?
No. I've told you. I've reluctantly agreed to Maguire at home to Sevilla. Right?
So you're saying Maguire at home to Sevilla?
Yeah. Varane away on Sunday. Or is it Saturday? Where is it? Where's Forest?
Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Sunday. And then Varane away again. So it's Thursday. So he's going to have 4 days recovery. That's doable.
Okay. Then cup final 3 days later.
Oh, fuck yeah. Shit. Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't know.
I see why Ten Hag got that early resting for Varane against Everton.
Oh,
makes sense. I have schedule until now. But to be fair, Varane's been fit recently. He's not like he's been injury prone. But Ten Hag clearly sees a need to give Varane rest.
Do you know what it is, Daniel? Daniel, listen a second. I'm going to put the responsibility on the fucking forwards. Excuse my language, right? You should be able to fucking get a comfortable lead at home, so we don't have to risk Varane away. So you can kick, because for me, that cup finals, that semi-final is important. That's an important game that Varane has to play that game. He has to play that game. Brighton and
you know what? So now I'm going to go the other way. I want Varane. Then we play Tottenham. Yeah, you can play 3 in a row. I want Varane at home against Sevilla. I've changed my mind now. I'm going Harry Maguire against Forest. Then Varane's playing 3 in a row. Sevilla away from home. And by the way, that could be a question mark on it. If we do the business at home, maybe we can rest Varane against Sevilla. But if we can't, cool.
That's why I'm saying, Daniel, put the responsibility on the forwards. Like, do your job.
No, but I'm happy with him playing 3 in a row because of the stakes of that game. And like I said, it's not like he hasn't actually been injury prone this season.
You know, who did you just play? Was it Everton? Everton. First half, 21 shots, 1 goal. Disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
I hear you. Jimmy Bryant, what's your thoughts on this? How are you managing the Varane Maguire situation looking at our fixture list? It's basically to the end of April, a game every 3.5 days, more or less.
I see. For me, it's easy. Very
game
easy.
Every 3 days. Sorry, game every 3 days.
For me, it's very, very easy because I think Maguire's hasn't had the same obviously number of games as Varane or anyone else in the defensive positions. So for me, he's playing well enough to keep playing him. Play Maguire, unless you don't have to. Like, he's playing well enough. I've criticized him for his performances so much that I feel like this is probably the first time I've ever had any praise for him, and I think he's done all right. And you know what? With defenders, for me, it's different. It's very different to attackers, because with defenders, I can specifically pick out why I don't like them being in the team. When I've looked at Maguire, in the last 2 or 3 times that he's played, he's given me the things that he wasn't giving me before, where I've always been concerned about Maguire's zonal understanding. It just seems to not understand zones at all.
You know what it is? I think
Right.
we might be able to get it. I think we can play Maguire another 2 games in a row. We can really milk it.
I think you can. I 100%.
Milk it. And then Varane is clear for the semi-final, the return leg and the game against, is it Tottenham? Who was it? Yeah, we played Tottenham after the semi-final.
Even if you did start Varane in that 3rd game, I don't think that makes any big difference, to be honest. You could still start Maguire in that game and Varane comes on in the second half or whatever. Because I'm sorry.
No, but Varane's going to have to play one of those 2 legs for me. So I'm comfortable him coming on the back end, miss the next 2 games, right? And then Sevilla away, seal the deal, get it, because you never know away from home. Go to Brighton and then Tottenham. He can handle those 3 games in a row. Only if he's rested now. Although, would he be rusty with too much rest? You know what? This is why I'm not a manager. I'm making 6-7 figures a year. This is too stressful. Right back.
Oh, this is the one for me. You know, it's easy for me, so I'll let everyone else go in it, because you see, for me, it's very, very, very easy. So you guys go in it.
I want Wan-Bissaka in there.
Same, easy, simple as that. I don't see why not. Like, there's no reason to not be Wan-Bissaka on that right hand side. So for me, simple as Wan-Bissaka, no questions asked for me, no debates. But you guys can go ahead in it. You guys can debate if you want.
Brian?
Yeah, I want Wan-Bissaka in there. Yeah.
Johnny?
Question?
Fullback, preference, Dalot or Wan-Bissaka?
For which game?
Sevilla at home.
Dalot.
See, Johnny, to make it,
right. I don't want Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. Sorry, Dalot and Maguire together, so I'm going Wan-Bissaka. Give me last-ditch tackling.
Johnny, why Dalot though? Why Dalot over Wan-Bissaka? Give me your reasons.
Oh, Jimmy, you watched the video. They press high really well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm going Dalot. My apologies. There you go. Just like that, I changed my mind.
We're at home. Listen, we're at home, and we're very hard to beat at home. I think I don't see why Dalot could not be competent for that game at home. Or the other scenario is Wan-Bissaka is, how old is Wan-Bissaka? What is it, 23? Something. He's not even old.
That's 25, 26 at this point.
Oh, so it's like, yeah.
He broke through late.
No, I changed my mind. He's not old, but I'm talking like he's an old timer or he's injury prone. The guy's fucking made of steel. Excuse my language. I'm swearing a bit right now. I realise that.
Oh, you got Wan-Bissaka.
So Wan-Bissaka, yeah, like he's playing well.
Cool. I'm outvoted 3-1. That's just me giving into PTSD with these 2. I think we'll be fine. I'll be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. I think we'll be fine. I'm just overthinking it. It's just seeing Maguire's face. It's like making me nervous.
I don't know why Indiana's calling me Backtrack Jimmy. I don't know why I'm being called Backtrack Jimmy.
Is that your nickname?
Apparently, what Indiana? You need substance, bro. Give me more substance. I don't.
Shout out to Nonchalant. Nonchalant says we're gonna smash them. Rachel was saying someone get us a right back in the summer. But it's going to be Frimpong, and Frimpong can't really defend. So we ain't getting no complete fullback. And you know what? If you saw Zinchenko get nutmegged, you see why keeping the ball is so important. A lot of these fullbacks are not good. They don't do a lot of defending.
I need a dip.
I'm going to end the stream soon anyway. So look, that's our team. De Gea, Malacia, Martinez, Varane, Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, Fred, Bruno, Martial, Anthony and Jadon Sancho. That team has been picked with squad rotation and a tough fixture list in mind. Shout out to everybody watching.
Now,
like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Mondays, 8 p.m. We will be here.
Indiana to explain himself why where have I backtracked?
Don't worry about Indiana. We can talk about it in space after the stream if we like. Yeah, appreciate everybody tuning in. We're going to be back next week, Monday, 8 p.m.
Shout out to Rachel, shout out to Indiana, shout out to everyone in the comments, man. Big up, guys. Like and subscribe, man. Support Daniel, support his channel.
Shout out to FX1. Never heard Johnny. I can tell I'm rubbing off on Johnny. I've never had to talk so much sense in my life. It's just all me. I take all the credit. Jenny as well for being working on him. Shout out to Jenny. Shout out to Brian. Appreciate you joining us, Brian.
I've got to say, Daniel, streaming Johnny is so reasonable, isn't he? Like he's so different.
Oh, I've muted Johnny on Twitter. On Twitter, it's shocking.
Streaming Johnny is better than Space Johnny. So reasonable.
The way he tweets. Yeah. Shout out to the MVP, Mr. Clippable, Uncle Jimmy. Yeah, I appreciate. I love going back and forth with you. I appreciate your contributions today. That's all she wrote. We're supposed to do an hour and some change. We've got
Jimmy, next time, just water before you come on.
We've got 2 hours and 15 minutes. Next time, the 1 hour is gonna have to go on Patreon, and I'm just gonna end the stream and we'll keep talking. And you guys won't be able to see me have to pay for it because, this weren't the plan. But honestly, I can talk to these guys all day long. Salute to you guys. Salute to everybody watching.
Salute to you, Daniel. Big up, man.
Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Catch you on